I'm excited. Look who's over there, man.
All right.
He back, baby.
Golly, bro. Man, all right. What's good, family? Welcome to a Minor Hoops podcast. Show the freshest opinions and views on the world's most beautiful game. I'm your host, Greg, and I'm here with the homies, the squad, the best starting five in the podcast game. Full five, man. Full five. Boys, how are we feeling?
We're straight, man. We're straight. Basketball, middle of the finals. It's exciting. It's exciting. It's exciting. It's weirdly exciting, though. Y'all seen the games.
Yeah, we seen the games. You seen the games.
I've seen the games.
Clap it up for the boy, baby. He's back. Let's go.
Yeah. Nah, but I'm glad to be back, though. Feel like it's been like
A long time.
It's been a long time.
It's been like a year and a half plus.
year and a half.
Been a minute.
Nah, a lot been going on, but y'all know me. I still stay tapped into the streets within hoops, so we definitely had to come on and talk about this final. So definitely excited to be back with y'all, man.
B, how we doing, dog?
I'm doing good, man. Life's good right now. AAU's going well. I think we 9-1 our last two tournaments.
8.
Are you with the 16s or the 17s?
16 elite this year. So yeah, we're 9-1. I'm be in Kentucky next week, Southern Pride Poetry Festival. So be down there trying to get this money.
Shameless
So
plug. Not even hoop related.
I really want to play. Like I'm really like that's where life is right now. I'm looking to these things. Like I said, just got a lot going on. I'm in a good place right now.
That's good. That's good. Dunk, how you feeling, boss?
Kids are hard. That's where I'm at.
Amen.
God bless you.
Hey, well, we glad the whole team is back. If you are new to the show, subscribe on YouTube. Follow the pod on all our socials, Twitter, Instagram. If you're listening on Apple, Spotify, Google, wherever, share the podcast, show us some love, rate the show 5 stars, 4 stars. Anything below that, you can keep that because like my mama say, if you ain't got nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all. Let's get into this, man. Here we go. We talking finals. We all saw game 1. Yeah, that was weird. That was a weird game, if you ask me. Me and B sat here, we watched it together. But
What was funny was like everything.
I really don't know where to begin.
It was the opposite of everything you said that was going to happen. That was the funny part.
No, it was literally. I went down. I explained to him how I thought this game was going to work out, right? And so B asked me, he said, "What's your predictions for the finals? What do you think gonna happen?" I said, "All right, let's be honest here. Let's be honest. Golden State is good for 2 runs. I said 2 runs, and these ain't no regular runs. These ain't no 9-2. These are 20-2. 20-2.
Yeah.
I said Boston to give you a 9-2, and they think that's a good run. But that's not gonna hold off a Golden State offense, not the offense we've been seeing. And so, game rolls around, and that didn't happen. That didn't happen. They hung in there the entire time, which was impressive to me. But then Steph Curry playing, I think, man, if they won that game, Steph Curry won that game. I wouldn't even chalk that up to Golden State. Steph would have won that game.
That's exactly how you say it.
Like Steph won, Boston. Oh, let's move on to game 2.
Yeah.
Like
Curry and company.
He played so well, and for the rest of the team to kind of let him down on both sides of the ball. Because Draymond wasn't good defensively.
Right.
Let's keep it a buck on that.
Yeah, there was no spark from Jordan Poole that game at all.
No spark from Jordan Poole. Klay Thompson took bad shot after bad shot. Wiggins was here and there. Like here and there. Like showed up one play, very aggressive.
He was
Next
very
play,
Minnesota Wigs.
very much so.
Yeah.
And Boston took full advantage. Boston just hung in and they knocked down shots. And I can't say it's an aberration if they're wide open shots.
Right, and it was more of what Golden State, like from a defensive standpoint, what they wanted to give up. Credit to Jason Tatum for having 13 assists in a night where he didn't shoot it well from the field, but they encouraged them from a standpoint of we will switch Curry on to Tatum if need be because we want to encourage Tatum in the tough twos, non-paint twos. He was getting a lot of like elbow touches. Now Tatum, what he's gonna have to do in the next game is like be comfortable with I'm getting it 2 feet in the paint. I'm getting on 2 feet. I'm shot faking, pivoting, trying to draw fouls, as opposed to like fadeaways or kind of those like foul baiting where I'm going to create contact, but I'm not looking to finish. I'm looking for a call. If I don't get it, I'm on the ground. I'm flailing out of bounds, not able to help our transition defense. And Boston, the role guys, Smart, White, Horford, knock down shots because, like I said, they would switch Curry on to Tatum, but defensively, we're all going to plug in to these driving gaps. And we're forcing you now to kick it, and we're going to close out, but we understand we don't have to run out there like our life depended on it because it's somebody we're thinking
They might want to start doing it, though.
Oh, yeah. Now they're going to have to change up their closeouts now because what everybody has seen over these past couple of, like, games and, like, playoff series is Marcus Smart, yes, for his career, he wasn't drafted to be a three-point shooter, but over the course of his career,
developed
he's become a better offensive player year by year. Derek White, he's not a extreme volume guy, but what we got to understand is from the organization he comes from, the organization his head coach comes from. People want to know why he probably went and got a guy like Derek White. He understands he knows what he needs to bring in a playoff series.
Right.
I'm going to spot up and I'm going to hit open shots. If they don't have it, I'm going to move it and I'm going to get it to my star, and I'm going to stay out of the way. Al Horford is playing the best basketball of his life.
Yes.
In year 15.
Yes.
Yeah.
And mind you, there's been times where Al Horford has been an all-star, but shooting the ball at the clip that he's shooting and at defending all 5 positions at the level that he's been doing, like,
the fact that he had to show Robert Williams not to drop, like, cause
it's hilarious.
That 21 points was all because Robert Williams fell asleep at the wheel. Like,
that first quarter, it was kind of really weird how the Celtics approached defense. It was non-existence on Steph Curry at times. I was thinking I thought he was gonna come out into the quarter having to hit tough shots early,
right?
And it was the opposite.
No,
it was
gave him looks.
They were giving him wide open shots, and I'm like, well, maybe they just came out slow.
Yeah.
Maybe they're just, this is a huge moment, their first finals after they finally got over the Eastern Conference hump.
Yeah.
So how they were going to approach defensively at the beginning of the game, I thought they were going to be a little bit more gung-ho, but credit to the Celtics for just sticking with their guns and their plans and just hanging around. And I tell people all the time, especially when you're talking about a road game against arguably a better team, or at least
on paper.
At least on paper, I got to give the Celtics their respect. But we know that team just wants to hang around. You want to be down by like 6 to 8 the whole game. You understand you're not going to keep a lead.
Right.
In the Chase Center now, I believe. I was about to say Oracle.
It ain't the same.
But yeah, it's not the same. But
It's not. Yeah, I that was one thing watching it, like a Golden State run in Chase Center during the finals.
I don't think this.
It don't feel the same at all.
The Warriors get them out of that the way the game.
Oh, in Oracle.
Quarter 1 when Curry's going crazy like that in Oracle. So, but I understand it's an uphill battle for the Celtics, but they hung around. And for game 2, the Warriors just need to make sure they actually like put them down when they have the chance to.
Because they went into the they went into the fourth, I believe, up 10, either like 10 or 12. 13. But yeah, it was definitely a double-digit lead. At one point,
just third quarter runs.
Yeah, at one point in the third, it hit 15.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah.
And
they hit 17 actually.
Yeah, and then the interesting thing, credit to Boston, is twice in that game, Golden State made massive runs that, like y'all just said, in Oracle, some teams pack it up after one of those, right? Both of those times, Boston answers. I believe at the half, they went into the half like it was a close game. I feel like it was.
No, Boston was up.
Boston was up.
Boston was up at the half?
Up
they was up 2 at the half.
I believe.
Yeah. So, and mind you, that was after Curry's explosive first quarter. I do think one thing that like led to Boston being able to cut these runs is, and I'm sure you've seen it on Twitter within Warriors Twitter, Steve Kerr and his rotation. All right.
Yeah.
Curry going off in the first quarter and then him sitting like half the second, only getting 3 shots in the second quarter, right? Then in the fourth, not starting them when they were up, like you said, be somewhere between 10 to 13 points. Go for that knockout punch. Push it to...
Especially when you realize Ime left Jalen and Jason on the floor at the same time.
That
It was
was
like,
him.
all right, hold up. Steph and Wiggins, y'all need to come in.
That was Ime saying like, yo, this is our last push. We're either going to make this a game or I might be pulling these dudes around like the 4 to 5 minute mark because we're down 17 plus. But at that point, Jaylen Brown, first half, he was looking like what people have been saying on Twitter, where's his handle at? And then in the second half,
You said that to me. I said, I didn't
For a
know.
second,
Jalen's handle be looking shaky sometimes.
It's
What
so
happened?
weird. It's so weird because
He be looking shaky
I will
sometimes,
see him
bro.
break out elite moves, and then in the first half, like Clay was really literally making him fumble it. He was playing mentally as if like as if in his mind he was trying to figure out if he's better than Andrew Wiggins. And then he realized like, oh, wait a minute, no, like he is not in my category at all. So like with Curry sitting out in that early part of the fourth, and by the time they got back, it was a 2-possession game. Jaylen Brown was already feeling it, and now it's a basketball game.
That was
at that point.
momentum had completely shifted.
Shifted.
It
It was
was-
Boston's
and at that
game
point-
to lose at that point, in my opinion.
at
Even
that
if it was
point-
5 points.
like to the point of like, well, Steph Curry shrank, Steph Curry choked. One, no, he didn't.
He didn't.
When he checked back into the game, it was a 3-point game.
Yes, it was.
Iggy turned the ball over the very next possession without Steph even touching it.
Can we talk about why did he go from? He hasn't played since he played like 10 minutes against Denver.
Yeah,
Didn't
and
touch the floor.
he's been hurt ever since. And now he's playing game
And
one.
why did Kuminga not get any minutes? Why is Juan
his
Toscano
man.
Anderson not playing?
Don't play Juan. Don't play Juan.
This might be the series for him.
I don't think so. I'll go Moses Moody
Is
before
it
I go
Iggy?
Juan.
It's not Moses. If it's not
No,
Juan,
Moses-
Moses cannot play in the series.
Why
either.
not?
I'm saying more so like, okay, he could, but it's like I feel like with Boston you need more size. If
Moses
anything,
is 6'6".
but how? So who you gonna have him defend?
I think you could put him on Smart. You could put him on any of those wings.
I mean,
Pritchard,
I think,
Grant
to be
Williams,
honest,
like he'll be fine there.
I think the Steve Kerr rotation was janky and ugly.
It always is.
But
Yeah.
I don't think because I know the Moses Moody thing is going back. I don't think that's the answer. To be
No,
honest,
I don't think either one of them.
Yeah, yeah,
Honestly,
yeah.
the answer is
The
GP2.
minutes
But that's a whole different discussion.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
of
the
course.
answer.
Can he
GP2.
play? Can he play in the series? Because if so, like that's
Yes,
gonna shift it.
he's available. He was available.
Is he healthy again?
Yeah, he was available in game
available.
one.
Yeah.
Steve
Bad
didn't play
injury.
him.
That's my thing. I'm like,
Like
dude,
it was weird.
I thought he was just hurt still.
No, he's available. He is fine.
Yeah, they said he was
He was
suited
listed
to
So
as
your
play.
man just
available.
throwing-
He was suited to play.
he just didn't play him. It was DNP coach's decision.
It was
Yeah.
weird. He was the only person on the roster that
And
didn't
like,
play.
like,
Now
that's the
maybe the
reason I
medical
think-
staff said not quite yet, and he'll play game 2. Now if that's the case, okay, Steve, you made your decision, whatever. But
Well,
I'm
he
pretty sure
suited up.
GP2 was there, like, let me go.
The reason why I was saying Toscano Anderson is because what Golden State is going to have to run into right now with Robert Williams being bigger and a better live threat than Kevon Looney is
Absolutely.
right now. With Al Horford, like we just talked about, he's stretching the floor. What Al Horford is doing right now that is really exposing Draymond Green's like weakness right now is like, dude, I'm actually taller than you. I'm bigger than you. I can actually switch and guard multiple positions just like you can, Draymond. While I'm not going to get a high amount of assists like you, I'm going to shoot the basketball, right?
I'm a whole threat out here.
Yeah.
I'm an
offensive threat.
I'm an
Yeah.
offensive
Offensive
threat.
There was
threat.
one image. It was one image. Draymond caught it in the corner. I think it was after Iggy passed it to him. Like Iggy passed up a 3, dished it to the corner for Draymond.
And
there
neither one of them were being
There
guarded.
were 4 Celtics players standing in the paint with Steph Curry.
Why would I go out there? Like, to be honest, why would I go
Yeah,
out
why?
there?
And so the conversation had the conversation that Kenny Atkinson and Brown and Kerr have to have is, okay, if Draymond Green is on the court and he's going 2 for 12, we cannot have Iggy on the court with him.
No, you can't.
And
you
that's
can't
why
play them
you
together.
cannot
You can't play
have-
them together.
That's why I said Juan Toscano Anderson was because I was like, or Kuminga is because, okay, if even same reason why you can't play Iggy and Dre together, it's gonna get tough at a certain point playing even Kevon Looney and Draymond together because at the end of the day
agree.
we're having 2 non-shooters on the floor and Boston is going to completely ignore them. Completely ignore them and mess up your spacing.
Kuminga will at least attack.
Kuminga at least will, if you give him that space, he's going to catch it and attack it. Or Toscano Anderson, if you let him get a rhythm and let him get a flow, sometimes if you're just playing with confidence, knowing, okay, I'm going to be on the floor for X amount of minutes, you're going to shoot the ball a little bit better.
I'll post Golden State a little bit of bail. In the second half, they made no strong moves in terms of player movement and action, like in terms of like moving without the ball.
Which they didn't
It
need
was a
to.
lot.
did, actually.
It was a lot of It was
You're
a
saying-
lot
Are
of
you talking about in the
standing
second half or just in
Are you
that
talking
last
about-
5 minutes? The
Are you
last
talking
5
about-
minutes, you're correct.
Are
The
you
last
talking
5
about
minutes.
making moves with the team, or are you talking about in the game?
He's talking about
in the actual game.
He's
He's talking
talking
about
about
game.
like
He's talking about
moving
moving
the
without
ball.
the
Okay,
ball.
okay, got you.
It was a lot of like the action we normally see in terms
So-
of Draymond Green. Why was Draymond Green standing on the like going back to? Let me slow down. Going back to there was 2 plays. First play was Draymond Green catches high post, Iggy cuts, dunk. Then they inverted. Iggy does the same thing. Draymond Green gets a lay.
Where
I
did
think it was a
where
foul.
did that start at though? Because this is where we're gonna get to the Steve Kerr real problem. How did those plays start?
I think I know what
I
you're
think it
getting
was.
at. I know
I think
what
it
you're getting
was a handoff with Steph.
at.
wasn't
Steph
that?
and Curry.
It was a Steph Curry high pick and roll.
Middle
That's
of the
all it
floor.
was.
Yeah.
It was a Steph Curry high pick and roll. Boston has to make a decision. Either we're gonna hedge it, either we're gonna trap it, whatever. Everybody's gonna hedge it at this point because it's Steph Curry.
Curry, yeah.
We know what's gonna happen if you don't.
He made 5 threes in the first half.
So here's the hedge. Dump off the Iggy and
4
Draymond
on
in the
3,
short
yeah.
roll. 4-on-3 layup. That's the game.
And
then they stopped doing it
They
for
gotta
5
commit,
minutes.
but they got to commit to that the whole way
Yeah,
through.
they got
And so
to.
if
You have
so,
to commit to it in certain situations. The last 5 minutes of the game, Clay has nothing going. Draymond's not doing anything. All right, Steph, take us home, bro. And if he doesn't, fine, you live with it. That's what happens with your best player sometimes.
Yeah.
Either he does or he doesn't. But you at least got to give him the opportunity. You can't
Yeah.
go into the, all right, we're going to give it to Draymond. We're going to try to run floppy action here. Like, that's not the time for this.
Because the issue, for one, people do always talk about, late in games, the pass, swing offense, those get tougher because, like you said, late in games, clock is running down. If we deny one pass, now everything is thrown off, and the guy we were trying to get it to, it's tougher. On top of that now, like you said, Kerr got away from high pick and rolls. Boston, they're not going to give up a lot of the, like you said, the floppy actions, the moving and cutting with goals.
Split actions, all
like
that.
the split, they're not going to fall for that because, for one, we can just switch everything 1 through 5.
It's very Houston 2018, 2017 like. We're just going to switch everything and turn it into an ISO game, which is cool when you had Kevin Durant. But when you don't have Kevin Durant anymore.
Right.
So let Steph do what he do.
And on top of that, Boston, and they've showed it against Miami. They showed it against Milwaukee. They really showed it against Brooklyn. We are not going to be the team where you just walk this thing down and just ISO us. You're not just going to attack our first dude on that first side.
Like I said, we're going to hedge. We're going to show a soft double. We're going to send a hard double. Whatever it takes to make you uncomfortable.
Or just that dude on the ball. Or just that guy at the point of attack. Whether it's Marcus Smart, whether it's Tatum, whether it's Brown. We're going to keep that dude in front. You're not just going to walk past us. If Kyrie and Kevin Durant couldn't come down and use their handle to just get a shot every single time, if they can't do it, nobody in the league is going to do this against Boston.
Absolutely not.
You're going to have to move the basketball. Like you said, you're going to have to go with a lot of high pick and roll, which isn't something that Golden State did for a lot of this.
They've never done.
A lot of this time. You know
Steve Kerr hates it.
This
They've been one of the lowest pick and roll teams since Steve Kerr took over.
But that's going to be their best opportunity.
But I mean, going back to what you said, and you said this a while ago. I think we went on mic, but you said this is probably the most they've done it in terms of this playoff run. Like, this is the most pick and roll they've played.
Yeah. They've leaned, especially with Poole and Steph.
Right.
They've leaned into it a little bit more, and I think more so it's been because of the matchups with Jokic and Dallas.
Yeah.
Like, they've been able to kind of get away with it. But I feel like Kerr, and I've said this on pod, I think you were here that day. I said it was like Golden State's biggest threat to their title hopes is Steve Kerr.
Yeah, I do believe that.
Why do you say that? That's interesting.
Because Kerr, once again, while I do think he is a very good coach, I've lessened on him throughout the years. I think there was a time where I sat up here and I told you Steve Kerr is one of the best coaches of all time.
It's funny, mind you, while you've lessened, because I remember at one point in time I said, let Doc Rivers see him in a playoff series and we'll see what happens. So, like, while you went down on him,
I've gone down on it, and now I've kind of pushed back up. I'm like in the middle on him.
Yeah.
I don't think he's all-time great. I don't think he's bad by any stretch. But Kerr, and this is why I think we've all kind of alluded to the rotation, Kerr is a coach that if you give him too many toys to play with,
he'll go crazy.
He's going to go crazy. He's just going to start trying things that he does. Ever notice Golden State's best runs always come when they have a shortened rotation? When guys are out, they're hurt.
Yeah.
Because he has to lean on Steph, Clay,
That's a
Durant.
bad look. Y'all are better when you can't do as much as you would
I
have
think
the
so here's
opportunity
thing. I
to.
actually understand it as a coach, like, because
No, I
I've
get
been
it.
there. I had, like I said, even this year, like I've started this summer with like 12 really good players, and I've just tried throwing stuff at the wall just because I can, because I know I have a luxury. But when 4 of them don't show up for a weekend and it's just 8, let them
We're
ride.
maximizing.
We're just gonna maximize what we got,
And
it's a weird thing.
and
Now
then
the
you
problem
see-
is you can't do that in the finals.
Right.
That was the regular season. You should have had all this figured out by now.
You got to let your elite elevate.
You're supposed to have your 40-minute plus players going now.
Yeah.
Like, it's
This
just
is
the
the-
end of the year. I have
this is
no
the
idea
reason we've
why
done
you're
all
sitting
this.
half a quarter.
This is the
like,
reason we
I
tested
don't
it.
understand why your stars aren't touching 38 to 42 minutes per game, especially if they're close. So when you have Steph Curry sitting for half a quarter
It doesn't
and
make
y'all
sense
aren't
anymore.
up 20, y'all aren't
Yeah.
up 20 when he sat in the second quarter. And I understand rotations and how y'all been doing it throughout the regular season and the playoffs. That is stupid. Like, that is the only way to describe it.
But here's the thing, though. This is literally what cost them a championship in 2016.
This is why it's stupid. That's what I'm saying it though.
And that was always my point. Like, at what point do you finally learn from your mistakes? At what point do you finally realize, all right, we saved their legs for the whole regular season for this moment.
But that's what I
Not
said.
the year
That's
18
a
of his
bad
career.
look.
For this.
Like, I understand the too many toys thing. I actually do understand that because I think human nature, that's kind of a thing where if you have all of these options, you're going to exploit them a little bit too much. But we're talking about an NBA championship team and coach and somebody who's gone through it multiple times. I shouldn't be talking about you restricting your rotation to your best guys.
I've also made the point of, like, we also have to look at Steve Kerr in this lens of, like, He took the Golden State job 2015. They immediately won a chip. 2016, they go 73-9, half of that season without him. And they lose in the finals, partly due to Steve Kerr. A large part of that blame goes to him. And then you get Kevin Durant, which at that point becomes one of the easiest coaching jobs you've ever had. So for 3 years, you have Kevin Durant. You kind of take your foot off the gas as a coach. And then you get 2020. Steph gets hurt. You don't really have.
That was the bad year.
Then you get 2021, which was the first time he had to coach really without a stacked mob.
And he did a good job. He did
towards the end of the season. Like,
they also didn't have the best pieces with that team.
And I agree with that wholeheartedly. But now, wouldn't you say as a coach? Because the frustration I had with him that entire year, because we all sat up here, you were big on Kelly Oubre. I had a Kelly Oubre moment. Kelly Oubre, while granted, I think we all overrated him a little bit.
Yeah.
There's no reason he should have looked as bad as he did in Golden State.
Right?
And that was partly because Steve Kerr refused to change his system. He never wanted to adapt to the personnel he had. He was like, I'm just going to do what I always did with Clay and all these guys. But that's not who these guys are.
Yeah, right.
The reason they went 15-5 down the stretch, partly because, once again, the rotation got shorter because Kelly Oubre got hurt. I think a couple other people got hurt. Eric Pascal got hurt. A lot. That rotation shrank. They played like 8 guys for the last month and a half of the season.
They were playing Juan during that stretch.
And Juan was playing in that stretch. They were playing Michael Motor in that stretch.
Yeah.
But he had guys who understood his system, who bought in. And more importantly, also, Steph Curry just did whatever the heck he wanted for the last month and a half of that season. That's why he averaged 38 points. He just did whatever he wanted. So, once again, we're at this point. Steve Kerr has had another season where he's had ups and downs. Like I said, people have criticized him. End of the day, you made it to the finals. I think he's done if I had to grade him in the playoffs, I think he's done like an A- job in the playoffs.
Yeah, he's done good.
He's done a really good playoff job. But now you're here in the big moment again. Do not make the same mistakes. You should have learned by now. And that's where you're at, Steve. You've been named one of the 15 greatest coaches of all time. Probably prematurely, but hey, you're on that list. Don't make these mistakes again.
And I don't think he will. I think
not.
I think like T said, we'll see 40+ minutes out of Steph. We'll see somewhere probably near that for Draymond, Wiggins as well.
Unless they're winning big.
Yeah.
Unless they're winning big.
I think also past that, I think we will see a better game out of Jordan Poole. And one thing that I was kind of, because I'm an avid FanDuel user, the whole playoffs, I was kind of waiting for him to have his, okay, when he's going to come back to earth.
He started coming back to earth a little bit in the Dallas series.
Yeah, he did. He did. And I guess this is just the worst one. And Poole is going to have.
It's a bad matchup for him, honestly.
It's bad because I forget who I was talking to about this, but that Denver series and who they played second round. Memphis. And even Dallas, with Steph and Clay, because they talked about it leading up. The Steph Clay Poole lineup was such offensively giving teams problems. He was not seeing other teams' best defender ever. A lot of times.
And that's what I told B. I said, because we were talking about, because B mentioned, he said, well, the Memphis Wings and the Boston Wings, they're kind of in the same ballpark. And I said, no, they're not. I
just said defensively.
Right.
And I was like, no, I don't think they're in the same ballpark. I look at the Boston Wings, A-. I'll give the Memphis Wings B.
Yeah,
Dylan Brooks is on the court, bro.
They're in different leagues.
I like
Dylan Brooks. I like
Dylan Brooks.
I was just talking strictly
let me say this before we get in trouble.
Let's clarify.
I like Dylan Brooks. Dylan Brooks can't hit. He can't hit nothing from the outside. He's not a good perimeter player. And so when you're dealing with that, Poole gets to breathe. We watched Poole get beat up all night long Thursday.
Yeah, when you have to defend on the other end,
he was food.
He was getting cooked. And then you got to come back on the other side. Peyton Pritchard isn't backing down.
Jordan Poole isn't. Not Jordan. Marcus Smart.
Marcus Smart isn't backing down. Oh, you asked for a screen. Here comes Horford. Here comes Tatum.
Williams.
It's going.
Jaylen Brown coming downhill.
He's gonna have to really lock in, and he's gonna have to. I'm not gonna say. I hope no one's talking to him trying to psych him out of his own game.
Do y'all think you think there's really an issue between Jordan Poole and Klay Thompson?
No.
You don't think there's a?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. Honestly,
Clay,
I saw some. I thought
I'm sure you've seen the thing on Twitter, but they be making it seem like Klay be looking him off and Jordan be looking him off.
All right, here's the thing.
Clay
Klay
always
looks off
wants-
Steph Curry.
Clay
So I
always
don't see
wants
what
the
the issue with
Clay
that is.
gets the ball and puts it up. That's what he does.
always
And
wants
here's
the
the
ball.
thing right now, like I said, even with Klay right now, we always knew, okay, he was never gonna be the explosive like athlete he was, and I wasn't saying he was it wasn't saying he was a high riser before he got hurt, but
That's real.
he had a level of lateral quickness that allowed him to guard guys like Kyrie Irving and make it tough for him.
Definitely.
Like, I think of anybody I've ever seen guard Kyrie has to get into most of his counters when it was Klay Thompson on, because he was sliding with him on those first few moves.
Yeah.
Since he's not that same dude now, some of his shots he makes right now are more of like, tip your hat, that was a tough one. Are you going to make that over a course of a game? And Thursday night was one of those ones where he was shooting some leaners where it's like, dude, you're not on balance.
That one-legged fadeaway is getting on my nerve.
And sometimes he gets it off, but it's like, against Boston, are you going to get that off over Jaylen Brown over 7 games and hit at a high clip?
So, and I made this, I think me and Greg talked about this point. Like, since Klay has come back, it's been really weird. And I actually posted this maybe about a month ago. I was like, Golden State kind of has a Klay Thompson problem. And it's more so due to Klay Thompson's mentality than anything.
Yeah.
He's come back into this team trying to assert himself as I'm the number 2 automatically because I'm Klay Thompson.
I'm that guy that saved us in OKC. I am him still.
I'm game 6.
I'm game 6. And granted, he's had moments. He's always going to have moments. Anytime you can shoot the ball like that, you're always going to have a game or two where it's just like, all right, dude, you're you. But with that, him trying to assert himself and it's already done it at times throughout the season, it kind of made Wiggins kind of shrink a little bit because it was like, all right, dude, you're not going to get the looks you should get anymore. You're not going to get the post-up opportunities. You're not going to get those mid-range shots. Poole, like, they literally had no idea what to do with Poole for like 2 months because they were trying to get Klay Thompson acclimated. And truth be told, in this series, to your point, there's nobody Klay can really attack offensively. He can't go at Brown. He can't go at Tatum. He can't go at Smart. Honestly, what Klay Thompson should be in this series is strictly a spot-up threat.
Rip Hamilton.
It should be no, like, anytime he takes more than 2 dribbles, they have a problem because he's not beating any of them off the dribble.
He's not.
So Jordan Poole and Klay should be the one. I mean, Jordan Poole and Steph should be the ones handling all the ball handling opportunities. Klay should just be running off screens. Wiggins is your dump down guy. Give him a couple post ups here and there. Every now and then, let him attack off the catch. Draymond should never have the ball at the top of the key again. Seriously. And I'm the biggest Draymond fan y'all know. He should never have the ball at the top of the key again.
I think
he's a short roll guy now.
I think definitely he should become more of a short roll guy. I still think there are some times he's going to need the ball at the top of the key because at the same time as we say Jordan Poole can't beat the ball up, we don't want Steph doing that as well because you see Marcus Smart drew a couple offensive fouls on him as well. Like
one of them was beat.
Yeah. So I still think Draymond should have the ball at the top, running just some of that where we get into our 5-out where we're passing and cutting because we still do need to free up opportunities for Steph in them.
Okay.
Like I said, I'm being hyperbolic.
But
it's gonna happen naturally within the flow of the game.
So let's look at Boston real quick. Is this what we should expect from them throughout? Like, is this
they can win this, man?
Is this what we should see? Like, it was this because let's be real. They shot what?
They shot
51% from 3.
They went 9 for 12 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. In the fourth.
I think they started out 7 for 7.
I think the stat is Marcus Smart, Derek White, and Horford went 15 for 23 of those 21 threes. So, is this sustainable? After watching this game, it's sustainable.
I would say so because they took what the Golden State was giving them, especially like when you look at Jason Tatum to have the greatest of offensive days, but him being able to spread the ball around. Yeah. We're talking about Derek White hitting shots, Al Horford hitting shots, but we have to remember what those shots was. It wasn't Derek White getting busy. Yeah. It was Derek White getting the ball off of Jason Tatum drive or on a kick out or something like that. So is them playing decent basketball sustainable?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Like, they're hitting shots that it was basketball. It was beautiful basketball. Shots. They're hitting the shots that the defense get them. There wasn't a whole lot of tough to Tatum come savior time. So when you're looking at it and you're looking at your best player, arguably one of the top 5 offensive threats in the league, goes for what, under 15 points or something like that? 12 points.
12, 13, and 5.
And you asked me, is that level of play sustainable? For sure. To me, I was a little bit worried about how Golden State just came out. They're going to have to make a lot of adjustments. But the Celtics, they didn't play their best basketball game 1, in my opinion. And that's kind of why I was really surprised about the Warriors, because it was like, in all of these scenarios where you have a top star, the other team star, you have them have the day that you want them to have. Like, you're making it hard on them. They're not hitting their shots, et cetera, et cetera. You still allow this team to hang around. So they have multiple weapons to go at Golden State with. It's not a mistake that they won game one. It's not fluke. They weren't supposed to get gentlemen swept, and I don't think any of us would have called for it.
Kinda
So yeah, this is
I
this
had
is
Golden
definitely
State in
sustainable.
6.
I was leaning.
I had Golden State in
I ain't
6
gonna,
as
I ain't
well.
gonna cap.
You was up here talking about 5.
I said it's
Golden State in
it was
5?
It was a small possibility. I said this could go 5.
Nah, man.
Like
I was
it
like,
could go 5. The way I was feeling about Golden State, but Magic Johnson said something, and I normally don't pay attention during the halftime show, but Magic Johnson said something where like Golden State had a big rest, and Boston has
They just kept
kept
going.
going.
The momentum's still going.
So they
But if anything, for an older team like Golden State, that rest should be like helping.
Now,
them.
true. Now,
But
I will also say,
but it's like doing runs at the court. Like you run 3-4 off,
Yeah.
and then say you take one L, whatever,
Yeah.
and you sit another 3-4. That first game back, you're like, okay, let me
It's
get
gonna
my
be- it's
let
gonna
me
be-
get my
yeah.
legs.
and Golden
loose
State
again.
has always been like that as a team. Like anytime they've ever had a long layoff, they always come out and play suspect.
Yeah.
Like they did it. It's 2017 San Antonio. San Antonio came out and blitzed them. They were down 30 in the first half. They did it against I want to say I'm trying to remember. I think it was Houston.
They lost to Toronto. That 29. They lost
like
that first
anytime
game.
they have a long layoff, and I think part of that is due to their play style though. Like everything they do is so predicated on motion, anticipation,
Reaction, feel,
reaction.
reads.
So if you don't play serious competition for a week, and now you pick it up against somebody who's like
the number one
been
rated
chomping
defense
at-
in the regular season.
like they've been chomping at the bit. They had to hear all week, oh, they ain't beating Golden State. Golden State should win this easily. Like, yeah, Boston punched them in the mouth.
Yeah.
Now, I think that the real question of is this sustainable? I don't think either team played their best game
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
I think, and I've gone back and watched this game 3 times now. I watched the fourth quarter like 6 times.
Right.
Like, honestly, the biggest difference between the two teams that game was just energy. Like, Boston's energy was just through the roof. And there was so many times you go back and watch, you'll just see Otto Porter like standing still. Draymond Green was he was horrific.
Draymond watched Al Horford take so
And it won't just Al
many
Horford. He saw
shots,
Derek White take a couple. He saw Tatum take, like he literally.
Draymond had the best seat in the house.
one thing I say Draymond does better than almost anyone, he didn't do.
That's
And it
right.
was like, what in the world is going on here? And to your point, like nobody on Golden State played well. The only guys that it brought any energy to Golden State that game was Steph, Wiggins, Looney.
That's it.
That's
No,
right.
That's it. No, that's
They were
it.
the only 3 that played with energy. Everybody else was kind of just like last day. Now, granted, some guys make shots. Otto Porter came in and got really hot for a stretch.
Yeah.
Like, but making shots and playing with energy are 2 different things.
I think Otto might have to start at a certain point in this
I
series.
think he has to be in the closing lineup. Like,
Yeah. I think, like I said, it's gonna be an issue playing multiple non-shooters.
yeah, they can't do that this series.
It's just gonna be too tough.
So I don't think that level of just shooting is sustainable. Now, granted, if they're going to play defense like that, then it probably is.
Yeah.
I think I saw a stat the other day that was like 38 of like the 41
Well, yeah, like
threes they
open,
got were
wide open.
open to wide open shots. I'm like, that is ridiculous. I don't care how your game plan is scheduled. That's ridiculous to give
Yeah.
up that many open shots. Yeah. So is the shooting sustainable? No. Is that level of play sustainable for Boston? Absolutely. What's going to happen when Golden State kind of gets their legs under them, if they can?
Yeah.
That's when we're going to find out really what this series
Because
is.
there will be at least one game this series where Boston isn't making shots. It might not be for the whole game, but it's at least going to be a stretch where Boston will not be making shots, and Golden State's going to get out and transition and run. Will they be able to pull themselves out of that, whatever that shooting slump may be? There was a stretch in this game 1 where they were able to. So,
Yeah.
do we all still think what were y'all predictions going into it?
I Golden State in 6.
I had Golden State.
I was between 6 and 5. Golden State.
But I had Golden State in 6.
Are any of us ready to?
I'm ready to say Golden State in 7.
I say Golden State in 6. I'm cool staying on it.
I can stay on 6.
So we're saying they're going to win game 2.
Yeah.
If they don't win game.
If they don't win game,
It's actually interesting because Boston's actually really bad at home.
They're
So it
one of the
wouldn't-
best road teams.
They're one of the best road teams, and they're really
Yeah.
bad at home. So it would be so hilarious if they did go 0-2 in Golden
it's
State and
2-2.
then went 2-2 in Boston, and then it's the best of 3. It would be hilarious. I don't think that's going to happen, but it would be hilarious.
What
if that did happen.
I can say, and I guess I have this feeling right now watching this series, and we can wrap this conversation up after this. When I've always been a fan of this team. In 2004, when Detroit beat the Lakers, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was a series where we were like, okay, like on paper, like ain't no way like the Lakers are actually like going to lose, regardless of what we watched.
Yeah.
And you watched one team be connected, play with energy, not care about who's who. Like, we're not like with Klay Thompson stuff. Like, sometimes it's, are you gonna coach the name or are you gonna just coach the player for who he is?
Yeah.
Detroit was like, I don't care about names, whatever. We're just gonna do what it is that we need to do. I think Boston is in that situation right now where it's like they have the pieces. They play together. They play with fire. They have enough shooting. They're the best team probably defensively we've seen in the finals in a while.
Oh, wow.
Are we all just still saying Golden State is going to win just because Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson are on this team?
Nah, I've seen Golden State. I've called it for the last couple of years. I said their system is one of the greatest we've ever seen. Steph Curry is the best player on the floor, hands down. And you know how I always feel about a series. If you're going in there with the best player, especially if you have a team built around you, you have that chance. Golden State did not play well, decent, good at all in Game 1.
And they were up 13 going into the fourth quarter.
And Steph Curry was still having a crazy game, and they were up. The league almost touched 20 at one point in the third before it got cut down, back down. So
Fair enough, yeah.
yeah, it's easy for me to keep my Golden State in 6 because when I watch that game and I see two teams that didn't play their best,
Gotcha.
I still think like the room for improvement for Golden State was so much more than what I would say the Celtics. Not that the Celtics played a near perfect game at all, but the Warriors made that many more mistakes and they were still in it.
What's what's the needed input to get the output? Like, what is it Golden State has to do to make sure they don't go down 2-0?
They got Poole.
I was going coaching.
Yeah, I think it's just you gotta adjust your game plan a little bit. You can't give up that many open threes. I honestly think, and I'm gonna say this with my full chest, you live with Wiggins on Tatum. You just live with it. Whatever happens, happens.
Hey, I respect it. I'm cool with it. That's what we got with.
My other big adjustment, and this, you tell me if I'm crazy, Coach. I put Draymond on Brown, and I put Klay Thompson on Al Horford, and I live with what happens.
We might get into
because I don't think they're gonna force feed Al Horford on the post. They're not gonna
True.
dump it down to him for the entire game.
That's not a bad idea.
Klay Thompson I know he wants to. His legs are not gonna let him hang with Jaylen Brown for the entire game. He just can't do it. Draymond is still Draymond. Like I can trust Draymond on Brown.
Yeah.
Brown's gonna hit some tough shots, but you live with the results. If you make that happen, and now it becomes, all right, Tatum has to go one-on-one with Wiggins, and granted, he's probably going to have a game where he gets 40 one night.
Oh, yeah,
he's probably going to have another game where he goes like he did the other night, 5 for 19, 6 for 20. We live with that. Long as we don't give up wide-open shots to Smart, White, Grant Williams, and all these dudes.
Peyton Pritchard, too.
And long as we aren't giving them wide-open shots, we're good. We live with the results offensively. Offensively, like I said, we already said, it just got to run more high pick and roll. Like I said, just let Steph and Poole kind of operate a little bit more openly. Yeah. Draymond can't get caught standing at the top of the key with no plan of attack. Yeah. Like, those are simple adjustments. And then, honestly, just energy. Just play harder. Like, they didn't play hard enough in game 1.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I'm not ready to get off the Golden State bandwagon. But I ain't going to lie. I'm trying to make sure what I separate is, like, history from, like, right now.
No, that's real.
Because
we've had this conversation on the Nets Celtics. We've had the conversation, and that's when I realized I wasn't separating it as properly as I should. Yeah.
Yeah, we have, and one of the things that we're gonna talk about at some point, we have to acknowledge the fact that we are watching the next generation.
Enter their prime.
This is the changing of the guard. Like we're watching it right before our eyes.
If Jason Tatum,
this is like when KD and LeBron
to elevate his play and win this series.
We're actually 10 years removed from that.
Like,
we're 10 years removed, essentially, from watching LeBron and KD take over the league.
Yeah,
from Kobe,
we are.
Duncan.
We're 10 years from that, yeah.
Like, it's crazy.
And I was telling Timon, a couple weeks ago, I was like, I think it's hurting us seeing this right now because I was like, some of our, like, GOATs, like, we really didn't see, like, Father Time come and tap them and take them away. Like I said, like, Kobe, he more so just got broke down, and it was like, Kobe didn't retire because he just got old and slow.
T-Mac knee hurt.
Like it was just like injuries. Like, okay, like if you're in year 15 plus and you tear your Achilles, you're gonna be done regardless of sport. Right. Dwayne Wade, so many injuries. Dude, you were gonna be regardless of sport. Like, but we didn't see like the
gradual
watch our dude slow down.
Man, you went from being a 29-point scorer to a 25-point scorer. Dang, that just happened.
We didn't, that fall off.
And we're now slowly starting to see it with the guys, but we were just like, nuh-uh. Like, not
right.
really.
I feel you.
Like,
so, I think that's where we are now. And like I said, if Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown managed to elevate to a space, and I called this, like, when it was a while ago.
You had your in and out.
Like,
Were they the best duo? Was it the in and out?
The best young duo. I was like, I could see it because you got two wings, both similar in play style. One's a little bit better than the other.
Mm-hmm.
At that moment,
Moderately better. I think there's a good little.
The gap has widened because now Tatum will defend and pass the ball.
Yeah.
But the fact that like at one point,
I mean, at that moment, I was saying one with the.
Oh,
in
yeah,
the-
at that
in
moment
the-
they were
in the
closer.
moment, I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
at that moment we couldn't tell which one was gonna be the guy. Like,
Yeah,
I
it was
think
still
we
a debate.
suspected
It was
Tatum.
still a debate though.
Jaylen Brown leads him in fourth quarter scoring. That's all I'm gonna say.
So don't cherry pick stats because we just talked about Steph. We just talked about Steph fourth quarter. Like so
Facts.
So I think
man.
it's interesting to see. Of course, we just saw Luka go crazy. Like he had a great playoff.
Yeah.
Before
Also, pause real quick. I haven't been on the pod for a while, so this is one thing I do want to say about Luka, right? I'm glad the world got to see what he did, because for 2 years, people were just laughing at the Clippers, and I was trying to tell people, no, we're not bad. We're not bad. He's just that good. No, I remember all y'all were laughing at me in the first round during the bubble season.
Hold on. Because
It's
I've
not
been
because-
on this pod saying Luka was that
it's
dude
not be-
for a minute.
It's not because Luka is that
good.
good. It's because you sat here and said Scotty Paul great.
Right. I did.
And that was the
You
problem.
said Kawhi and Paul George was going to lock him down.
I did.
That was the problem.
We were like, no, he's not.
And then he started, but then, and like I said, then he started doing, and then it was also, I said, going into the second year, I was like, y'all, he's that good. Like, we're trying. Like, we're actually trying our best. Like, Pat Bev, that's one of the few times he's like, dude, like, I'm out here
Sweating.
trying.
You're too little.
I'm just, I can't get him right now. So, like, I'm glad that Luka did what he did to Utah this year, to Phoenix this year, and him going at Chris Paul and on. Cause
Everybody can get it.
bro, he's Larry Bird.
Yeah, it's a lot of full circle moments. We say we're gonna get into
Yo,
it.
this man text the group chat. Mind you, this is one of the first pods, right? And it caused like an instant argument. You know what he called Chris Paul?
What?
A loser. Do y'all remember the very first pod?
Yeah.
It wasn't the first.
It was like the
It was
first
the second,
three.
third. It was like
And
the
we
second,
had
third,
this, and he was like, "Oh no, it's just
we did it
you
at
call
your
him,
own rate.
I
you
kept
call
saying the
him
man
the
just has
most,
really bad luck.
he call him the unluckiest basketball player."
He does.
He does have really bad luck. But
But
this
four,
was
5
inexcusable.
years later,
This
we
is
have a full circle
father,
moment.
this is father time right now.
Nah, bro.
Nah,
You
that
had
wasn't
father
father
team.
time.
Nah,
That wasn't
you
father
Had more
time.
help.
Oh, yeah, he should have.
That
He
was
should
got
time.
this one.
bad.
At least, no. The only team that was acceptable to lose to this year
Yeah.
was the Warriors.
Pretty much in the
That's
West,
it.
yeah,
In
in the
the
West,
folded.
yeah, in the West.
But
They
I was
fold.
telling-
Inexcusable.
What I was
Big
telling
time.
Taman last year, though, even when the Clippers lost to them, I'm like, bro, like, Phoenix was in the finals, but like, look at what they had to play. I think Phoenix.
Oh, no, they definitely had a
in the
favorable
first
world.
round, they played the Lakers, broke down Lakers. I felt so bad watching Anthony Davis play because LeBron James told him to. Remember that was the one that we were dragging up and down the floor. Do you remember that elimination game?
No, that was the game LeBron James quit. D-Book came out with the
Yeah,
47
yeah,
ready to go.
yeah. Like, I felt bad. I was like, AD, you out here dragging your foot up and down the
Yeah.
floor, knowing you shouldn't be out here. So they beat that team, right? Boom. Then they played what? Jokic by himself.
Yeah.
In that second round, swept them. But it's like, okay, Jamal and MPJ are hurt. Then they play the Clippers. No Kawhi Leonard, no Serge Ibaka. So it's like, mind you, we took them to 6 still.
Yeah, I remember.
And I remember watching that series, and I was like, okay, like, we're struggling with these guys, but we're hurt and broke down. But, like, Luka gave us hell. Donovan Mitchell gave us hell. I was like, Book, you're kind of, like, manageable within the game.
Yeah, no, honestly, yeah.
No, that's real.
That's fair.
Oh,
That's
wait.
fair.
And that was kind of always the whole argument of like, is Devin Booker really a superstar? Is he really
a
that?
superstar.
He's
He's
not a
up there.
superstar. He's a star.
Yeah,
There's
that's
a
fair.
difference.
Okay, I can
That's
I
fair.
can give
Like-
that. I can
Like
give that.
Luka
Giannis
is a superstar.
Giannis, Luka, those
Like,
are your
they're
guys.
different. Like, I would even put
Jason
Tatum in that category
Jason
now.
Jason Tatum's
Like,
a superstar.
Devin Booker without Chris Paul ain't what? He a
mean,
7 seed? Are they?
I mean, huh?
Without
I'm talking about
that-
Phoenix. If like Chris Paul wasn't there, I still think they're a playoff team. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
they have a solid
you
team.
can't just say you can't just take.
But like I said, I'm
CP
saying,
out.
like,
You take a max out, you put in another max, regardless if you break it up. I think they're
But,
probably
like-
going to end up 5-6 seed.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, 5-6 seed.
I was gonna say 7, but all right.
You know what? Anyway, because the play-in goes into like the 10th seed,
It's
so
7
whatever.
through 10,
but
but
they're
whatever.
making the playoffs
Fair.
without the play-in. That's what I would say about the Suns. That's kind of how Newbilo would say
I don't
that.
know because here's the thing. We had this conversation. Dang, we're really turning back the clock for a second. We had this conversation because
Told you
it was
this slander.
It was about Kyle Kuzma. All right. And this is just for context.
Right.
We're not going into it. This is
no,
just for
no, no,
context.
no.
The last time you hear it, this is what we were talking about. So this is kind of just.
So this is just for
pick up.
context because we were mentioning Kyle Kuzma, but then we mentioned Brandon Ingram, and then I made the correlation between Brandon Ingram and Devin Booker. And I said
I was here for this.
about the same kind of guy. I mean, they don't play the exact same, but in terms of
You
production,
talking about the
what
airspace?
they're gonna give you,
what they're gonna give you,
what you expect.
win shares,
They're on the same.
It's about
tier.
the same.
They're on the same tier.
Would Devin Booker
And
be?
I see that still.
What they'll be. I think I was telling Manny this like a week or two ago, but they will be like the leaders of like that second tier.
Yeah,
like
facts.
there's like that top 10 in the league. You know what I'm saying?
That's
And
right.
there will be some young boys to take like Bron and older guys spots when they leave. But I do think like Book will be like, I'm at the front of the door for like the dudes right underneath that.
Right? Yeah.
Fact.
Like I'm the first one to get in the club.
You got to get me out the second round.
Yeah.
Nah, that's real.
Yeah.
That's honestly what it is. Like, ooh, I was about to say something reckless.
Like the Dame,
Huh.
kind of like Dame.
Dame was at a higher point than
Yeah,
Book.
Dame's a superstar. Right?
Yes.
Dame's a superstar. He was.
Okay, yes,
Yeah,
Dame is
Dame
a
is
superstar,
superstar.
but in terms of what
Oh,
you
we
just
talking about-
said,
no,
like you got to
yeah.
get me out the second
yeah,
round.
nobody
That's a
thinking the
Dame.
Blazers were going to hit the finals.
But
Yeah.
but that was
Okay.
team. I think that was more of team, not as opposed to like him individual. Like Dame was like up until we might have to like whenever we want to redo rankings. But I think if Dame is like healthy, trying
the
to
number 2 point
trying to
guard
win,
for, like,
yeah,
years.
and I think with
Hands down.
I think with this recent, you know what I'm saying, Brooklyn debacle, like I think it's fair to say like I can't be mad at anybody who says like Dame is better than Kyrie.
I still had Dame. We did a
We all-
ranking
we all
like
had
2 years
Dame.
ago.
I had
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was one of the few that was like up until like a year or so ago. I was still willing to argue that, but nah, I
Well, I gotta see
can't.
Dame again too. I gotta see
Yeah.
everybody. I gotta reevaluate the whole league now.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that in the offseason.
Yeah.
But while we're turning back the clock, let's look at a list, man. A list.
We're gonna save KD.
Ranking the greatest NBA Finals performances since 2000. Bleacher Report dropped this list. It's been causing a little bit of a stir, so I want to get y'all guys' thoughts on it. Starting at, I'll start from 8 down. We work our way down.
So they only did a top 8.
Yeah, they did top 8. They didn't do 10. I thought they did 10, but they only did 8. So Kobe Bryant in LA 2009. Of course, he was in LA. In 09. That's at 8. I believe. Well, it said 32 points per game that series. 6th highest scoring clip in NBA Finals history. LeBron.
One of the
James-
ones that LeBron should have been a party that Bron didn't attend.
Oh yeah, that was not the 09 one. Was one
That
we were
was-
all waiting on.
Yeah, he had us tight because the MVP puppets dropped.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
he hit that
yeah.
buzzer beater against
They
Orlando.
they
like,
dropped that dot
yeah.
premature, that 23-24 dot
Yeah.
premature.
Yeah.
Like, man, we were ready. We were
The
mentally
world
ready.
thought we
The
had it,
world was
bro.
ready. Everybody was
Bean
ready.
was ready.
But the thing is, I'll say this though. We always talk about that. Oh, like I wish Bron would got da. At that point in time in LeBron James'
Swept.
career,
Swept.
he actually
Saved
made,
himself.
No,
he
no,
saved
he got
himself.
swept.
He saved his legacy.
Bro.
He saved his legacy not
The
getting
way
there.
Kobe
It
would
would've
have went
get-
at him
It
though.
would have got bad.
Oh my gosh. Bro.
because like I always say like yo Bron's
I'm
like
just going rosters aside. Like,
And-
just looking
and-
at the roster.
Bro.
in an alternate reality, LeBron's career goes like, okay, boom, that 07 sweep, which I'm not gonna hate because you know what I'm
we
saying.
never knocked that
He
up.
was never supposed to even be there in the first place. Then let's say, okay, 09,
Can we stop with the he wasn't supposed to be there?
He wasn't.
He wasn't.
He
bro.
was the number 2 seed in his conference. He
he
literally went
Okay.
through a final. He went through a playoff run where he played 2 500 teams and then a Pistons teams without a Hall of Famer.
Okay.
To say he wasn't supposed to be there is one.
But
thing.
that
Okay,
team, it was
all right.
they
Like,
weren't
he
supposed to be.
wasn't-
That team was
Now,
not supposed
was
to
he
beat the
supposed to
Pistons.
win? No.
No.
Was he? But not say he wasn't supposed to be there.
They
is
weren't supposed to beat that
ridiculous.
Pistons.
AB.
That was,
AB,
that was-
let's be honest,
So
dog.
who's the best player?
AB.
Tomorrow, who's the best player on the floor in that Pistons series?
LeBron James.
Okay then.
AB,
But we
let's
all
be
know
honest,
about
dog.
teams,
We're not arguing
though.
either.
There was no
I got
other
you,
Hall
I
of
got you.
Famer on the
Lee,
floor.
I mean, B, let's be honest, bro. Let's be honest. We've all been on the court at some point, and we thought this team does not belong on the court with us right now.
Not if they had LeBron James on the other side.
I see what B.
I see what you're trying to say.
Yeah, no, the logic.
But
is up
I
there.
know what the Spurs were.
I'm not
Focus
talking
on
about
the
the
list.
Spurs.
He's
I'm
talking about
the
going through the
Pistons.
Focus
East.
on
He's
the
talking about
list.
getting
I'm not
to
saying
the
he was supposed to
final.
compete with the
Focus
Spurs.
on the list.
I was not.
List
I'm not talking about how he's
focus.
supposed to compete with the Spurs.
Focus
I'm
on
literally
We
just
can
talking
get
about
back. We
the
can get back.
Eastern
We can-
Conference. That's it.
I would have rather watched Spurs versus Pistons. I think that's the sentiment that's going on.
Fair.
Okay.
But going
All
back to the end.
7, LeBron James.
I think this should have
16.
been higher for sure.
I thought this was gonna
This
be
should be
higher as
higher.
well.
This is
Should
one
be
of the
higher?
greatest things
I
I've
thought
ever
this was
seen.
gonna be
Yeah.
higher.
I'm shocked that there's
It's a
6.
3-1 comeback, but then I don't know.
But
man.
there's 6 other finals performances better than that.
But the first,
30,
but the
11,
first
9,
sentence
2
is together
steals,
with Kyrie
2 blocks.
Irving. So were they not? Well, nah, because they had Shaq on this list and he had Bean. Nah, I don't know what
yeah,
they
so
doing.
that's what I'm saying.
Kevin Durant had the
Like,
mob.
and don't tell me
Everybody,
that's better. Don't tell me what KD did in that
better
joint was
than
better.
20. Yeah, this
Like,
list is
yes,
stupid.
Kevin Durant did play he did get like almost like 35 a game, but it's like, bro, he saw no doubles.
All right,
that was
for
the
those-
topic of discussion in the
For
beginning of the
those
week.
who's listening, Kevin Durant
Number 6.
is at number 6 in 2017 versus the Cavs. He drops 35.
Yeah, he averaged like 35 that
35,
series.
shooting
A
47%.
smooth one. It didn't
35,
feel like
85.
35.
Yeah, he
It was
went
just
nuts.
so
He went
effortless.
nuts.
I mean, I bet it is when Steph and Clay on the
Yeah,
wing.
if I have, yeah.
This does feel stat hungry now that I'm looking at it.
Yeah.
Shaquille O'Neal in 02 at 5.
They could have got any other picture.
Can they name,
Mind you, I'm fine
can
with
anybody
honestly.
name the New Jersey Nets starting center?
Kerry Kittles?
Nah,
He's a shooting guard.
Oh man, hold on. I just named the name.
I'm trying to
Was
think.
he on the team? Was he on that
He
team?
was on that team.
Okay,
It
okay.
was probably either Kenyon Martin or like Keith
no,
Van
Kenyon
Horn.
Martin was the 4.
He was the forward.
You got to
the
think back
forward.
then though. That was
Because that was
center size back
02
then.
02 was Kid, Richard Jefferson. VC was on that team, right?
Nah.
Nah, they made a trade to get VC later.
Yeah, that's when they were trying to go back.
Oh, I think they started. Hold up, I'm looking it up right now.
I got it.
Did they start Dikembe on that team? Because I'm looking at it right now. It looks like he was on the roster. It looks like he didn't play too much. Hold up. Yeah, bro. I think they may have went with Kenyon at the 5.
Todd McCullough.
Whoever that is.
He got cooked.
That name
Starting
sounds
lineup was
really
Jason
familiar.
Kidd.
Of course,
Kerry
we were
Kittle.
alive. We were
Yeah,
playing
but
NBA
like,
live.
It's
Like
a
we.
clip. It's a very specific
Shout out
clip
Todd.
that I want to say. It's almost coming back to memory.
It was Jason Kidd, Kerry Kittles, Keith Van Horn, Kenyon
Van
Martin,
Horn,
and
there
Tom
it
McCullough.
Those are some names.
Yeah,
Shout out to
Shaq.
Keith Van Horn, man. I remember him.
I haven't heard that name. In
I bet that was a
20
hard. I bet that was a hard 36 Shaq.
no
that was a hard
disrespect,
36
but
Shaq.
honestly,
Then they got Tim Duncan.
Yeah, Tim Duncan at 4 in 03 versus the Nets again.
24
Tom
and
McCullough.
17.
24, 17, and 5 with 5 blocks in 6 game series. That was
Todd.
that was the moment. That was the moment. D Wade
I'm cool with this.
in
being on the
06.
list.
Yeah. This is where
This
they've
is
been
legendary.
top-
This
yeah.
is
This deserves to be on the list. This is actually the
35,
first thing I
8,
thought of.
4 with 3 steals.
The reason I always still say sometimes teams will fall for the 3 ball being a trick bag. Like he averaged this shooting, I think 2 threes a game.
Yeah.
He averaged.
Yeah.
So basically, like I'm gonna shoot with 3 in the first half. I'm gonna
And
take, I'm gonna
like
take
15
one.
free throws too.
Yeah, yeah. You know what I'm
They
saying?
could not keep him out.
They couldn't.
And that was the time where D Wade literally went to the
He
rim.
was the Flash. He was the
like,
Flash.
He was going
Flying
nuts at
there.
the rim.
Yeah, no, it was
And this
one of the greatest finishers of all time.
Like the way, for those who weren't, because we do have people who weren't born in the 90s who
haven't seen this
who
yet.
probably didn't see what Wade was doing. Wade was not jumping as high as
not as high as Jordan,
not as high as Ja, but he was going to the rim that aggressively. Like he was hitting the
Oh,
deck.
way
Like,
more,
it's
way
different.
more, way
Like, he
more
was
body
way-
work,
yeah, he
way
was
more
6'6".
physical.
Like he
Yeah.
was going to
Yeah,
the rim
yeah.
so much.
I must say, I owe Tom McCullough an apology. He didn't get that work from Tim Duncan. that was Jason Collins.
Okay.
I got
Okay.
that.
Yeah, okay.
So my apologies, Todd.
So the Giannis Bucks won in 2021. I mean, like,
No, I respect that because the numbers.
I'm not
this
mad at
does
this.
seem like stat numbers.
Yeah.
like it just.
there were
seem
no
like
fans
numbers.
in this joint. Like,
No, there were fans.
No
in this
fans
one.
in this one.
No, this
were?
yeah,
This
this
one
was
he closed
this
it out
was
with like
the
This
a
wasn't
50
bubble.
ball.
oh yeah, okay, you're right. I'm tripping. Yeah. So now, yeah, this
I
was.
respect it. We just didn't care about this finals. That's why we felt. No, to be honest, that's
It
how
was,
we
it was
all
weird.
are feeling right now.
He was
Now, it was
supposed-
pretty cool. I mean,
I
I
was
was
fine with
pretty happy for Giannis in this moment because
yeah. No, I was too. Like,
I think he kind of he didn't get a lot of flack because he was in Milwaukee, but he definitely needed a moment like this, and I think he showed up in a way Tim Duncan showed up against Jason Collins, in a way Shaq showed up against Todd McCullough. Like
DeAndre Ayton's better than Jason Collins.
yeah,
right.
but what was it, 35, 13?
Giannis was putting this on a whole team.
Yeah,
though.
35,
most of this
13,
gonna
and
be in
5.
transition.
I wonder if Monty ever just wakes up like, I should have doubled. Like, I should have doubled.
I would have.
it wouldn't have mattered. It wouldn't
Drew
have
had
mattered.
nothing.
It wouldn't have mattered. And then what? Shaq.
In 01.
Yeah,
That was the.
And this is when I,
was that the
and
Indy?
I won't debate
I
this.
think this is unanimous.
This was
I
the
won't
Philly
debate
one.
this,
This
bro.
was the Philly one. He
This was the
got.
Philly
Yeah,
one.
Yeah, I won't debate this. I'm sorry. 33, 16, and 5 with
Yeah.
3 blocks. I'm sorry, I can't. I'm not.
no, this is
You got it. You got it. This is why Shaq can talk the way Shaq talks.
Yeah.
Like Shaq can say what he says to all y'all pros now. Talk about y'all need to have more points and more rebounds, big men.
You got it done.
Yeah,
He did it.
You got it done.
He did it.
I'm gonna go through a couple that I feel like since 2000 that should have been mentioned that weren't.
Okay.
So like I said, fair enough for them to mention Shaq. Mind you, Kobe was averaging 25 plus all through these Laker playoff runs. In the ones
when Shaq was
when
carrying
Shaq, I've never seen someone get carried and average 25. But outside of that, one of the memorable ones, Tony Parker gets the Finals MVP, averages like 24 one time for the Spurs, right?
True.
Dirk year, right? 2011.
In the finals, what his numbers in the finals?
I'm about to pull him up right now, but I do know he was down to the Heat like 2-1 and came back.
That's true.
And he was not missing that whole finals run. Hang on, 2011 finals.
I want to say it was like 28.
It won't that much.
I think it was like 26.
Honestly, you can put, even though he did not get a Finals MVP, you can put what Kyrie did in 2016 as well. That was one of the greatest. That's probably
Still the best I've ever seen.
That's the
him play.
greatest performance I've seen to not get a Finals MVP. Like the greatest performance I've seen, like somebody ever play and not receive it. When have we ever seen somebody
On the winning team.
on the winning
Yeah.
team? If you
That's so
average
crazy.
27 and up, you're normally going to get the Finals MVP.
Right under that stuff.
Yeah, Dirk averaged 26 and 9 in that Miami series.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
It's crazy. We always like, even now, like
Look at what he shot though. Look at what he shot
He shot 41%.
from the field.
Yeah,
What did he shoot from three and from the free throw line? Though?
36, 97 from the free throw line.
That's what it was. So yeah,
Like, so I mean, and more so just pointing out like how we all just remember like, man, he didn't miss shots. No, he missed a lot of shots. We just remember those moments where it was
yeah. When you needed him,
when he
to-
needed
when
it,
he was
got
going
it.
hit.
So fair enough.
And I'm trying to think who else.
That's a crazy nickname, dog.
Tall baller from the G. German race
What?
car.
German
German
Jesus.
Jesus. I was reading them too.
Oh,
I
wow.
was like,
None
yo,
of these
Dirk
nicknames-
go hard.
Nickname,
I was like,
dog.
Dirk go hard, yo.
They calling him
Tall
German
baller
Jesus
from the
out
G.
Germany. That is nasty.
That's
You just
tough.
call him dirty?
Yeah, I can't think of no.
Dirty.
But yeah,
I mean,
man.
yeah, outside of Dirk, I can't really think of anybody else that's like
those are just a couple, like I said. Like,
No, I think some of these
really
could get
on this
reshuffled.
list.
Some of
I
these
think
could
they
get
in the order.
reshuffled.
yeah, you could definitely.
You can definitely reshuffle these. I can't have Kevin Durant at 6 over
No, I
LeBron.
can't. I
I'm
can't.
sorry.
Yeah, that's wild.
Nor
Yeah. Or Bean. Honestly,
or
that,
nor
that,
over
yeah.
Bean. What did Kobe do for? Because this is versus.
I thought
That's
the
Orlando.
this is the
He-
Magic.
he-
What did he
the-
do
the-
versus Boston?
That Boston series,
He didn't
nobody
score.
scored.
Yeah, he
well
didn't
in that
score
series. It was
well.
one, that was one of the
Okay.
best
Nobody.
defensive finals
Yeah, he
we've
didn't
ever
score
seen.
well
Like,
in
it
that
was a
one.
scrap.
Nobody was
Yeah.
going.
Yeah.
Like
You
nobody
just-
was getting
you
buckets
just
in that
happy
series.
when somebody just anybody
Yeah,
put it through the hoop.
yeah, that was he. Didn't,
No,
yeah.
it's
it was
real
some dry
though.
spells, bro. I was
Like,
yeah,
that series
Paul
was-
Pierce, and I forgot who I was rooting for.
Like they literally had 4 games. From game 3 on, nobody scored over 100. It was 91-84,
Yeah.
96-89, 86-92, 67-89, and then the last game was 79-83.
They got who scored 67 in a final.
That was on Boston,
Oh goodness,
game 6.
Doc Rivers.
But yeah, like Kobe.
We did
Nah,
like eight
Kobe
games,
did average
though.
28 in that series, but he shot 40% from the field. Like,
Okay.
Hey, 28 is 28, bro.
28,
No,
especially in that series.
Yeah.
in that series, like
Yeah,
it
nah,
literally
honestly,
was like
yeah.
that. Like nobody
Anybody
shot
want to
well.
mention your percentages? It's just like whatever.
Like nah, bro, you didn't see what was happening.
Yeah, you didn't watch it.
Tony Allen is guarding me, bro. I'm not gonna shoot a high.
Facts.
Tony Pierce, Ron, everybody was coming out here. KG was getting me
I'm
on
not.
switches.
I'm
Got
not gonna
that.
shoot a high percentage,
Right.
bro.
Only time I got to breathe was when Ray Allen was in front of me. Shout out to Ray Allen. That was a stray.
Yeah, it was. That was messed up. Ray was playing defense on the Boston team, bro. Leave him alone.
But we can move on, man, because KD's talking. He got time.
Some more? He's talking some more?
We talking some more?
I enjoy it. I'm not going to kick it. I enjoy it, bro.
Yeah.
I enjoy the fact that he's no longer hiding behind burners.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
fair.
yeah,
I rock
yeah,
with it.
yeah.
Fair.
I rock with
Yeah,
it.
we can all.
If this who you gonna be that dude.
I've been said that.
Facts.
Yeah, don't ever
Like,
do it
be
on the
that
burner.
dude.
Just say it with your
If-
chest.
Now, the other thing I used to say was, if this who you gonna be, don't let it affect your play.
Yeah.
You got swept.
I mean, I can't guarantee this affects his play. That's
I feel
wild.
you.
That's wild to assume
Yeah,
that.
if he.
I don't know that
it's
man
not
like that.
If he would have been quiet.
Yeah, that takes credit away
Boston,
from.
It's not like
Yeah,
if he would have
the
been quiet.
defense,
Boston
yeah.
would have not guarded.
I can't say him
I
tweeting
watched
is the
Giannis
reason he
and
got
Jimmy
locked.
Send them to 7.
Because they weren't tweeting?
It wasn't
like
it wasn't-
I'm not saying it was because of tweeting.
You just said
no,
it,
I was more so just as the weeks
no,
went.
I get what you're saying. Them
using
using Twitter wasn't the issue. Like, okay,
I agree with
so
you.
there's a
I'm
kid
just
in
messing
high
around.
school right
Oh,
now,
alright.
right? That everybody always, you know, how parents always say like, kids, y'all on your phone doing this and that. One kid that I will say, like at the high school level, I hope he does well at the college level, who's proving the whole like you can be on your phone and be productive. Jared McCain, he's going
I know
to
you
Duke.
talking. We're going to do.
2023 kid, TikTok legend.
Everywhere.
With the way NIL bags are going nowadays, this kid's gonna make
Money.
He's gonna make a lot of bread. Mind you, I heard Paulo Banchero made $4 million last year
I'm not surprised.
in his freshman year at Duke. So I can
Wow.
only imagine what this kid is gonna make. Yeah.
No, it's crazy because I don't remember seeing a Paulo Banchero commercial or seeing him tweet. Like I don't remember seeing
This
none
is
of
the
that.
first time we said
like,
college
he
and
made
sports.
four-
I was cool with
He
it.
made $4
Yeah, huh?
million
Go to North
essentially.
Carolina.
Oh yeah, if you're
Durham.
in North Carolina, you're gonna see his
Go to
face.
North
Yeah.
Carolina.
He made $4 million in Durham. Is what you're telling us.
Yes.
Cool with it.
That's wow.
This is fine. No, it's not. No, it's not. We finally gotten to the point where that is cool.
No, I mean it's
That
cool,
is so
but
cool.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but
wow.
like
It-
that's impressive.
It's wild
to make
that it's taking this long.
He made all that money
No,
in North Carolina
it's wild
alone,
that it's $4 million
That's
in North
local.
Carolina.
That's
That is
local
that is
$4
wild,
million.
too. Yeah.
Like local $4 million.
Cole wasn't making $4 million when he do shows in Carolina.
Right.
And you also gotta understand like what Duke and North Carolina represent to like that
Area?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
No, they're a church.
all them Alabama players are making
Like, it's- no,
bank
it's like
at
a whole
Alabama.
religion.
Yeah, for sure.
Like-
Duke, I'm confident Duke and Carolina's fan bases are hands down much better than the Carolina Panthers and the Hornets.
Oh,
Facts.
yeah, for sure. Not even
Without
close.
question.
Yeah, that's not a
Without
question.
question. That's not even
Yeah.
a debate.
Yeah.
Not even close.
Not a question.
Yeah. Panthers got a fan base?
They do actually.
They do.
They
Yeah.
do.
If
But
you go to
I'm
Charlotte,
dead
if you go to
serious.
Charlotte, they actually do have
They
like
do?
a solid.
I say
advantage.
all
but
that
it
to say-
doesn't do anything to Duke and Carolina.
I just know Carolina's so close to it that I never felt any Panthers
Yeah.
kind of vibe or fan
yeah.
base. I'm just like,
Hour
wow.
I know a
What, Charlotte?
couple.
Well, Carolina,
Chapel
period.
Hill.
From Chapel Hill. Oh yeah, it's about an hour, 2 hours.
You like
Maybe.
Charlotte?
Yeah, Charlotte from Chapel Hill.
Yeah,
About an
it's
hour and a
About an hour
half.
and change.
Yeah.
But I was saying all that to say the kid Jared McCain, he's gonna go to Duke. He's really nice. Always on TikTok, like TikTok legend, all that type of thing. So I say all that to say, Katie tweeting was not gonna increase his.
I agree with
percentages.
that. I'm just messing with
Yeah,
that one.
for
but-
sure.
Right, and so KD has been spending time, responding to anything that he don't like or that he
That he just feels.
feels
Yeah,
compelled to
his
reach on.
phone.
He got time today.
He
got
got a
time.
lot of it. He
And
got a lot of it.
tomorrow.
Yeah, the whole most
Y'all
of the
long,
summer.
y'all long summer, baby.
Yeah.
Because he also responded to Draymond Green, but right now we're looking at a clip from Stephen A. Smith, aka Stephen Naismith, as he self-proclaims, saying that Michael Jordan is responsible as much as anybody for changing the game for the worse. I'm gonna let it play.
So, yeah, I got you.
Here's the deal. It's not Steph Curry's fault because Steph Curry can shoot. Steph Curry, he changed, he changed it. People say he changed the game. No. He elevated it to a point where it was acceptable because you're looking for somebody to produce somewhere close in the vicinity of what he does and what Klay Thompson does to a slightly lesser degree, okay? But the reality is, you know who the biggest culprit for all of this is? It's Mike D'Antoni. He knows that. He played for Mike D'Antoni. Mike D'Antoni wanted you to shoot threes or layups. He didn't want no mid-range game. He would consider benching you if you took a mid-range shot. Am I lying?
Except for me. I mean, I shot a lot of mid-range.
Not you. But those guards
Well,
that
yeah,
he put
but
out there,
absolutely.
if they launched mid-range shots instead of three doggy, he didn't like it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you something else because you'll appreciate to being a historical individual that you are. That Molly so eloquently stated earlier today.
Molly.
Okay, Molly's gonna explain it the way it needs to be explained. Okay, but here's the deal. My brother, the guy I love so much, that I believe is the greatest player to have ever played, Michael Jordan, is responsible as much as anybody for changing the game for the worse when you consider you. Stay with me on this.
Okay.
This is throwing no shade on Michael Jordan, of course. He's the greatest ever in my estimation, number one, all right? But he was so phenomenal that the NBA marketed the individual, the audience gravitated towards the individual, and the game became a bit more individualized because people wanted to be like Mike. Before Mike, you had Bird and Bird and Magic. Well, what was Bird and Magic? As great of a shooter as Bird was, as Mr. Clutch as he was, okay? Bird could pass, Bird could rebound, Bird had McHale, he had Parrish, he had Dennis Johnson, he had Gerald Henderson, he had a whole bunch, Danny Ainge and others. They had a team, all right? Blue collar, but team. Well, what was Magic? Magic was Showtime. As phenomenal as Magic was, what was his number one attribute? Passing. So guess what? He inherited Norm Nixon. You had Jamal Wilkes, all right? You had Kareem. All of a sudden, you got Worthy. You go from Norm Nixon to Byron Scott. You still got Michael Cooper. You got Michael Thompson. You had Kurt Rambis. The list goes on and on. And you marveled. And think about this. You had guys once upon a time that would grab rebounds and want to dribble. Magic came along, and the first thing you did was grab that rebound. Where's Magic? Here you go. And Magic pushed the ball up the court. He had Worthy on his right. He had Byron Scott on his left. He had Cooper trailing. And if that didn't materialize into fast break points, then they'd slow it down and wait for Kareem. What I'm saying is you were thinking team until Jordan elevated it to another level. And from Jordan, then you had the Kobe's, the Vince Carters, and others that came along thereafter, and the individualization of the sport, particularly because of the money that came with it.
So Kevin Durant didn't like this. He didn't like this take at all. He said, and he hops on Twitter, gives his 2 cents. Says, my theory is that guys like Steve, Skip, and Shannon, threw them all in there, changed the game for the worse. Players like Stephen A. and Michael can, Steph, as in Steph Curry, can only push the game forward. This kind of matriculates into more tweets going back and forth. Stephen A. says that there will always be guys like me around, saying that you can't get rid of us in terms of reporters who speak on the game the way that Stephen A., Skip, and Shannon do. So, what do y'all think? Is Kevin Durant's assessment of Stephen A., Skip, Shannon, and everyone else you can throw in that ballpark legitimate?
I mean, immediately
based off these comments.
Immediately, like, if we're gonna do, let me start by saying this. Commentators, analysts, etc., have pushed the game forward. So I'm not gonna disrespect all of them and act like it's not needed.
Yeah.
You saying the greatest basketball player, like generally, like if the one time I can use that term unanimously, like without anybody arguing, you're saying the greatest basketball player has had a hand in ruining basketball in any aspect while on national TV is extremely irresponsible to the game, your platform, other players, and basketball and period. How does somebody who's globalized the game, got everybody paid more, analysts included, created more jobs? This is Michael Jordan we're talking about. And I understood the aspect in which Stephen A. Smith explained it. That was sloppy to say. So the criticism and critiquing it of Kevin Durant, like, I think guys like Stephen A. who's put it in the work and, you know, they have a right to speak about basketball. I'm not going to take it that far.
Yeah.
But I'm not mad that he's pushing back in the way that he just did. That's a wild thing to say. And I think when people throw it at Steph a lot, like ruining basketball because of the threes, it's still a wild thing to say. But when you take it into the context and we're doing now, like, the greatest basketball player ever has had a hand in ruining the game. That's not a topic, a talking point. That's not something you bring up on national TV, in my eyes. And I would hate to see that being used by any kind of Bron fans for any kind of arguments. But I think it was disrespectful to even mention, even if you think you had a case to defend it.
Okay. You made a face.
No, because first off, I kind of understand what KD was trying to say, and I do agree with it to some extent. But to Tamon's point, like I said, you also have to recognize the media is the reason all of y'all make millions of dollars. Like, they're the ones that push the narrative.
There's some negative things, but
of course, they, like I said. So, in understanding that the way the media shapes things and the narratives they use, yes, can oftentimes be a detriment to some players and to basketball in a sense. To your point, though, I kind of understood what Stephen A. was saying to some point. saying Michael Jordan ruined the game of basketball, I didn't take it as a sense of like he ruined the popularity or he ruined
You're talking about the game.
the game. I'm talking about literally the
On the
way
floor.
the game was
Played.
played on
Yeah.
the floor. Michael Jordan did have a hand at ruining.
It became
basketball to some extent.
individualized and everything.
Same way Steph Curry has to some point.
But why
That's not ruining the game. That's changing.
no.
But no,
Can
but
I
this is
explain?
this is the point we're talking about. It's the word ruin. To affect something and to change it, to modify it, to alter it, that's one thing.
So that's always
To say that Michael Jordan had a hand in ruining basketball
Rage.
is totally different. This isn't. We can talk semantics or whatever, but he used the word ruin.
Have you seen the one funny video? Who's the dude? I think he has an African accent on Twitter. He's like, "You're ruining it, man. You're ruining it. Ruining it." You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm
I think
talking
so.
about, right?
I think so.
Yo, those joints.
Yeah.
But
Go ahead.
like I said, to the point of like, and once again, I think the whole ruin thing, it always comes down to perception. It's what do you view as what do you like about basketball? And this is where, like I said, a lot of us, come on, we're the young heads on this, and I'm getting old now. But we have these arguments with old heads all the time. We're sitting talking about, oh, basketball's so bad, and all they do is shoot threes, and there's no defense. And it's like, for us, that's not a bad thing. Like, they're taking smart shots. Defense rotations are actually way better than they ever were in the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. Like, the game is just played at a different way now. But to old heads, they ruined it.
But that's the stand that KD had came back and tweeted more about. He said when you use the phrase Michael Jordan and ruining basketball in any sense, you have made a mistake. You should just speak more clearly in what you mean. You said, or not you, I mean, I'm pointing to Stephen A.
Yeah.
That you, Michael Jordan ruined basketball. There's only so
Like I said-
much context in the word ruin. It's a detriment, it's a negative, whether it's changed from one generation to the next. That's not what he said. I dislike it more now. That's not what he said. He said Michael Jordan had a hand in ruining basketball. No, he didn't. That's a horrible perception to take.
yeah.
Michael Jordan had arguably one of the largest impacts in elevating the game of basketball. So even if you take that context and what he's trying to say, because I do think Michael Jordan helped individualize the game. That could have been a bad thing for a lot of people who did grow up in that generation watching. But what he said was irresponsible, and it was in no way, shape, or form in the context that we have to now try to figure out around it. Because the immediate view is Kevin Durant is completely right. You don't say that about Michael Jordan and basketball. 100%.
Like I said, I've always been, like I said, I'm somebody that kind of, it's weird because, like I said, I grew up in the 2000s, but I've always viewed like that late 90s, early 2000s era as like, especially now I've gone back and done my history and research. Like, to me, that's always been like
Your golden era or like a basketball?
No, like I think that was one of the bad eras of basketball due to Michael Jordan's influence on the game. If we're just talking the game,
And you said which era was bad?
The 90s.
like that late 90s, early 2000s.
And what makes you say that? Why?
Because, like I said, going back to the Michael Jordan influence, and Stephen A. brought this up to a point as well. Like the 80s and 70s, like there was a very preeminent thing of like it was team basketball. It's Magic Johnson, it's Larry Bird, and so on and so forth. Like we play as a team.
Yeah.
That scores were high because they were getting up and down the floor. Everybody
Right.
touched the ball, so on and so forth. Then you get Michael Jordan, who, because he was the greatest, because there was nobody that could stop him, because he had the best team in the 90s, they ran off this dynastic era playing. While the triangle does predicate on ball movement, it does lean into a lot of ISO tendencies. It was a lot of hero ball. And Michael Jordan was the greatest ever at it. So everybody after that wanted to emulate Kobe, Carter, McGrady, Penny, Jerry Stackhouse, so on and so forth. You had a lot of guys. Even Iverson tried to, in his own way, play that style. And it was kind of bad basketball. That's why you see shooting percentages drop, scores dropped, defense. Everybody talk about how great the defense was. No, you were guarding one guy. Like, it wasn't, we load up, we make him shoot a tough shot. He shoots 42% from the field. He gets 30 points. Everybody's happy. Like, it's just a weird style. And granted, we saw a lot of our players that we know and love grow up in that. I'm the biggest Kobe fan as you can see.
Yeah.
But even you remember there were times I was always sitting by Kobe and I was like, man, I wish Kobe wouldn't try to do this by himself so much because it's not good basketball. I didn't understand that at 13, but now I'm like, no, it just wasn't good basketball to play. There's a wide open guy in the corner. Pass it, let him shoot it, or pass it, cut, get to a new spot and take a better shot.
Yeah.
Like,
And if
And that's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. It was literally the term in which Stephen A. Smith explained it on national TV to millions of people in the
that's right.
audience.
And as you say that, I
was
can agree with that.
extremely irresponsible.
I respect that.
And nobody's gonna take. I'm not gonna say nobody, but how many people you think are gonna take the time to break it down the way we are now?
Right.
But they're gonna take it at face value.
That was the educated take we just heard. We just listened to 3 minutes of really
3 minutes is a long TV segment time for a
Yeah,
take
facts.
too.
right, especially just him. Like no one else spoke in this moment. We listened to 3 minutes of him allude to what you're saying, but not actually lay it out in terms of there was a system in place that they ran, led to hero ball. He was the greatest at it. Like he didn't mention any of that. Yeah. He didn't, and that's why I have an issue with this take, and I have an issue with anyone who kind of thinks this way. Even if let's go with this. Let's go with the sentiment that created a bad shock, a bad wave in terms of what basketball, the product that was on the floor. Let's say that happened.
Yeah. Use the words to actually describe what you mean.
So let's say that happened. I still can't blame Michael Jordan for that because once again, you're supposed, and this is at least how I see it. Just because I'm the greatest at it doesn't mean that you go around trying to be me. This is the same thing that we've blamed Vince Carter, Jerry Stackhouse, like all the names you mentioned, Vince Carter. We've all looked at and said, "That's not Jordan. That's not Jordan. You need to adjust. You're not Jordan." Only person that came along that at least made us even have that inkling of a thought.
Let's go.
And we still said it.
He ain't Jordan.
He just became Kobe.
Like
After a while, yeah.
Like we just had to live with that's cold.
But for years, it was just like that Jordan comparison.
But for all the moments you can say, oh, he changed the game for the worse or he ruined the game, the skill level in terms of what we saw that Michael Jordan exhibited is still being addressed today.
I was about to say, imagine his individual skill level and the push that it made for the people that the Stackhouses, the Kobe's, the Vince Carter, as an individual level race.
Like we scream, this is the most talented era in terms of of basketball.
Started like I tell T all the time, basketball currently today is literally like derived on like a tree. In terms of like there's certain guys at the top. There's somewhere at the beginning of this tree. There's Bill Russell, there's Julius Erving. Jordan is somewhere underneath Julius Erving, and then like under Jordan there's Kobe Bryant. There's, like you said, there's Vince Carter. Somewhere underneath Kobe Bryant's tree there's Kyrie Irving, and then that expands to somewhere under Kyrie Irving's tree you have a guy like Darius Garland. Like basketball all like stems in this type of way, and it's because from a guy like Jordan. And I get what Stephen A was trying to say and what you said as well in terms of like individualizing the game. The way that he was trying to describe it, Stephen A. Smith, you're talking about James Harden and Mike D'Antoni. What you're trying to get at, where like people started to think, okay, I need to be all about myself and shoot all these shots. That's James Harden, like you talked about.
I think he was more so alluding to like the 3-point craze when you talked about them, though.
I thought you talked about the individualization in terms of Mike D'Antoni allowing James Harden to essentially play one-on-one basketball with 8 other people.
They definitely took it to the extreme.
That's one-on-one.
That's what I was assuming.
If anything, like I said, like Jordan, like yes, there were times like early in Jordan's early career where he didn't have much help. Scottie was young.
Did what he wanted to do.
He had to put up these numbers to do whatever. But then Phil let him know at a certain point in time, dude, like you have to give into this triangle. And yes, was he ISOing? Yes, but everybody knows, even us as coaches, I'd much rather you when you have that talented dude that you want to see get in his bag, you'd much rather it come after a pass, I cut off of a screen. Maybe I just catch it in the post already. Now I get into my elite skill. I screen for somebody else, they screen for me, and then I get to it. Then
rather
I
than
can
bringing
work
the ball all the way up down the court and then trying to go into an ISO at the top of the key.
Yes, as opposed to what Harden does or what Kyrie did and KD were doing in this this first round that wasn't working is bring it up against a loaded defense, 5 eyes on me, and I'm trying to get my game off.
Facts.
That's what's ruining basketball.
And so, do we blame that on Michael Jordan?
No.
I can't. I can't because
he played in the system.
And
so to that point, and like I said, bringing that parallel back to Steph Curry, like once again, you see this now, like I said, with young guys, like everybody wants to shoot like Steph, without the realization of what actually makes Steph that great of a shooter. It's not the fact that he can't shoot from 45 feet. Like, that's one thing. Like,
Yeah.
a lot of guys can go out there and stand and shoot 45 feet.
Okay, so and I know where you're going with this. So who's the conversation that we should be having it with? Who's
James Harden and Mike D'Antoni?
No.
I'm going
Who's
coaches
supposed
and
to-
trainers.
No. Who's supposed to communicate that aspect to the masses?
Oh, the people that are on the TV.
These guys.
Yeah. The people that are talking about basketball every
These
day.
guys who spend
I'll-
The people with the G14 classification to
I
talk
was
about
going to say the
basketball.
coaches, but all right.
No.
yeah,
But
what
to
he's saying-
the masses,
To the
though.
masses,
And that's why I said the common viewer.
Because let's be honest, this starts from a young age. Like you mentioned, like we're not watching just 13 and 15-year-olds do this. I went to my little cousin's basketball game. He's 7, 8 years old. I went to watch them play. Them boys can't get the ball up from 30 feet, but they trying.
Heaving
that jump.
Heaving it.
And guess what? Their coach is not, going through the whole spiel of like, oh, you're only 8 years old, you're not strong enough to shoot the ball, whatever case may be. They make 1 out of 5, 2 out of 9, and then, oh, we're happy. But they're watching the game with their dad. They're watching the game by themselves. They're watching Stephen A. They're watching the highlight reels, and no one's saying, oh, there's actually an action that took place before Steph Curry shot that shot.
Yeah.
Or let's get to the part before that where Steph Curry shoots 10,000 threes
Yeah. To work on his game.
to even be able to shoot those shots at a confident rate. Like, that's the conversation that the media does not express enough. And so when you say, okay, yes, Skip, Stephen A., Shannon have played a negative effect, while they have had a positive effect in terms of the media,
absolutely.
they have played a super negative effect
negative.
because they don't do that. They get up on there and they say,
They sensationalize the game on TV for the common viewer.
That's it. They speak on narratives. They don't like and once
But
again,
we have-
and I
but
think-
But this is
But
the
here's the
highest
thing.
paid man
But
in
what's
sports
what's their
analyst
job?
on
The
ESPN.
thing-
that's not true.
What
Actually, Tom Brady, when he retired, was
Well,
like,
yeah, that
okay.
doesn't. Wait, Tom Brady's with
That's
Fox
weak.
though, right?
Yeah,
he's
he's on Fox.
ESPN. I had said
Oh, you
ESPN.
said ESPN?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought
What you
said-
had just said right there, you said speaking narratives. That's what they're doing. Like, it's a whole lot of narrative, like, filling and narrative spewing. But what's their job title?
NBA analyst.
Analyzing. What they're doing is not me looking and saying, okay, he had 15 points and 8 rebounds, and me just saying that's not enough. You got to do more. 15's not enough. That's not me analyzing the game.
it's not.
But
I'm not
here's the
disagreeing
Because
with what y'all saying.
if we
I'm-
read Spark Notes on a book, I did not.
I read the Spark Notes. Shout out to Spark Notes, Quizlet.
You read a
Do kids
It was
still
another
use
one.
Spark
Oh
Notes?
yes, Smooth, help me down.
like that. Like you didn't analyze the book. You did
Facts.
not read the
I
book.
agree.
If
Facts.
I just
I
read
ain't put in the
Spark
work
Notes.
for it. Yeah,
Man, y'all gave me the box scores.
Yeah, honestly.
And honestly, that's the difference, and that's why we're seeing a lot of people challenge these guys the way they're challenging them, and they're saying what they're saying, and that's why we're seeing a high number of people come into the media game.
I would say ex-NBA players.
XNBA, or shoot, I mean, we go across the board. You go Pat McAfee for football.
Yeah.
You go JJ Redick. Now you see Draymond Green. You got CJ McCollum. Like, you got all these guys now expressing their views because you can express the narrative and the game at the same time. But ESPN and Fox Sports and FS1 does not do that the best.
They don't do it at all,
quality.
at all.
I'm not going to take it away. There are some people
The only
that
person
do a
truly-
good job.
there's only
And so I'm not going to take it away from everyone.
No, it's a couple decent
But-
ones.
Within ESPN there are, but like those aren't the ones getting the main time. Like
That's facts.
Tim Legler should be on ESPN
Facts.
with his own
Tim
20-minute
Legler's
segment a day.
He's
Like
amazing.
why is he
I
not
see
on
him twice a week.
Like why is Tim Legler
Facts.
not on NBA The Jump every day?
Only time we see Timmy is after
After
the
game,
game
after
with
a West
SVP.
Coast game.
I
1
told you, we see him
a.m.
like twice
1
a week.
a.m.
1 a.m. dog.
And
And he be working too. He be up there.
And we give him 180 seconds on the board to talk about, to draw up with all the graphics and stuff like that. Why Luka didn't beat Phoenix on that night,
Yeah.
and that's it.
Oh,
But like
man.
Tim Legler, guys like Legler, JJ Redick, what he's doing right now, CJ McCollum. There's other guys. Vince Carter's trying to get into it. Richard Jefferson's been doing a good job.
Yeah,
Matt Barnes has been doing a good job. Pat Bev came on there and just caused smoke and flames. Like we should be having more of those guys on there.
Yeah. No, one of the best moments of this year, and my bad to interrupt
You
you,
good,
is
yeah.
when JJ Redick had called out Russo, I
Yeah.
believe.
Yeah.
Oh, live on air. Because that needs to get said live on air. And shout out to JJ Redick, a white man, taking that stance and being like, yo, this is BS rhetoric that you're spewing. Like, this is stupid and hate rhetoric. Didn't see Russo for like a week. I don't know what he was doing. Maybe he was just...
No, he only comes on Thursdays.
that made sense. I gotta miss Thursdays more. Yeah. But to have those moments from those guys who can talk the X's and O's and also like span out into the outlet media world, that is what's really needed.
It elevates the content, it elevates the show, it elevates the space, it elevates the conversations kids have.
So, and this is where now we gotta have a different conversation about the masses. Because the masses, if we're gonna keep it 100,
they don't care.
They aren't us.
Yeah, they're on us. We're
Like,
minority.
they aren't trying to analyze basketball.
That's casual. We're talking casual.
We're talking, and that's 80 to 90%
majority
of
of that pay
basketball
for
viewers.
this-
But okay, so what came first? The media or the casuals? Did the
Both.
media create the casuals?
Both.
Yeah.
I think the media created the casual. I don't think the casuals influenced
I
the
think
media
the
to go
media
what it
created the casual as
Yeah.
well, and then I feel like it's a
think it's both.
I think it's a little bit of an exploitation, and the reason why we're saying narrative is because we're treating it like a reality show, and that's why I'm looking at the media more than I'm looking at the person because they're getting fed it, and they didn't ask for it
people
initially.
view sports figures as. Sports figures have always been viewed as mythological.
Yeah.
They're like for so long. I can't remember who was talking. I think it was Andre Iguodala on his podcast. He was talking. He was like,
Shout out to the point forward.
facts. But he was talking about how for so long, even Michael Jordan, before he like really blew up and became who he was, like he was seen as untouchable by the masses because there wasn't 24/7 media, there wasn't social media, there wasn't a way to actually view Michael Jordan in real time like that. Now we can. We know everything Steph Curry's doing most days.
Yeah.
We know everything Draymond Green's doing most days, and Kevin Durant and all these guys. So now most people, when they view this, they're viewing it like a show. These are people that I should be able to sit on the couch. Like, they really believe, like, think about how many people you know on Twitter, on social media, who really believe, like, they think they can sit on the couch next to Kevin Durant and talk basketball with them. They can't. But they think they can.
I got a couple people hit me up, and I'm like, bro, you can't even sit on these couches.
Exactly. But they think they can because, I played 2K and I played basketball in middle school. And like, bro, if
No, you're fine. Serious. No, that's
and
a great
what
point.
the masses
That is a
are
great
now.
point.
So they don't want to sit down and actually have a talk about, oh man, if you hedge your pick and roll, this is supposed to happen. And if they're in drop coverage, it's supposed to come off the screen and a snake dribble. Like, they don't want to talk that because that's too much. And most of them can't understand.
To the casual person,
so why would I want to talk about it? It's the same thing in third grade in middle school. You're not going to teach me calculus if I don't understand. I'm going to tune out.
That is fair.
That's it.
And if you, I think T, I was asking you, it all, some of this goes back to in terms of like narratives and casuals. Part of the reason the NBA is the $1 billion industry it is because of the casuals.
Yeah, for sure.
And the
That's
reason,
the reason.
And you want to cater to them.
you want to cater them, and that's why if you watch the Showtime thing, the Lakers thing on HBO, it
Yeah.
talks about like the commissioner at the time. Well, it was before David Stern, but I think at that time when that first season, David Stern was like assistant GM, whatever. But they talked about like, yo, the NBA would really want to push this storyline of you versus Larry Bird, the famous white player from Indiana that was working on a trash garbage truck. The smiling black boy from you know what I'm saying, right outside of Detroit. Like, that's the, you know what I'm saying, the storyline that we want to push, because you don't have to know basketball to know that, okay, if I'm a blue collar white guy, I'm rocking with this Larry Bird dude.
Facts.
If I'm a brother,
All you gotta see is a
Rocking with
poster.
the Lakers.
All I gotta see is a poster, and I'm like, I know which one I'm
and we
at.
mob him.
Yeah.
And then now we're all going to tune in. Like Michael Wilbon said it at the pregame show on Thursday. 42 years ago, he told Magic, he was like, Magic, 42 years ago, your first NBA Finals was on tape delay.
Yep.
Now we have pregame shows for the game, live. But it's because we have this many casuals.
Yeah.
So like it's an unfortunate thing, but like in order for the NBA to make as much money as it needs to be, we unfortunately need these very elementary basic topics.
And
It's one thing to be elementary, but it's one thing to be perverse, and that's the problem.
Perverse is a strong word.
No, it's the right word. It's the right word.
glad we're using words on this pod today.
It's the right word. I think you can make the game basic on a ground floor level.
Yeah.
Fair.
But you don't have to pervert it with bad conversations that don't add to the elevation of the game or the context of the game. There's too many conversations we can actually allude to, and I'm not even gonna start on between the shows on FS1 and ESPN that we've heard.
We can do
Skip
a
and
whole
Shannon,
another pod
Nick
on those.
Wright.
Oh God.
Like we Stephen A, Chris Russo. Like we can get into all of these different shows where they have these conversations. Before he got cut, Whitlock. Like
Yo,
in the last,
did you see his last take, bro, on his radio show? Oh my God!
No,
don't,
you talking about the radio?
Oh yeah, his
I
radio.
haven't seen the last.
He came out
one.
with, oh my God,
What do you
don't.
say?
like
He got
come
cut?
on,
I
bro.
did not know that, but I'm glad to hear
Like
that.
the media has perverted the game in some way in name of, or to say, oh, we keeping it at a dumbed down level, or keeping it at elementary level, and that's in. I've been at basketball camps. I've listened to people who
This
didn't
isn't
even
elementary level.
This isn't elementary level. Like I've seen,
I see what you mean.
I've seen Udonis Haslem come in and explain the importance of
To
mid-range
8-year-olds.
to 8-year-olds and why that matters and why this player averages 35 even though they shoot 30% from three. I've seen Eric Maynard do all the crazy crossovers. And he didn't play that long in the league. He played what, 4 years? 5 years maybe?
Yeah, he got hurt.
Got hurt, blew out his knee. Shout out to Eric Maynard.
Shout out to Eric
But
Maynard.
saw him, he's doing all these crazy, everything Kyrie was doing, he was doing that in front of us. 3 balls, 4 balls. And he said, it starts with this. I'm like, come on, bro. Like, you don't have to do it.
That's
You don't
what
have
has to get
you don't have
showcased.
to pervert-
Yeah, at a certain point, like this is why I put it on the media as well. Is I think you have to expect a little bit more from your casual fans as well. I know there was a little bit of argument about like the Chris Paul and family and the fans touching or whatever.
Yeah.
There's a strong sense of entitlement throughout casual fans that's also ruining basketball. So there's work to be done on both sides, but presenting the game in that perverse way that you just mentioned I think is the foremost most harmful thing that's happening.
I think they're doing it because they have to compete with everything else.
All the other stupidity in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not just competing FS1 versus
Basketball's
ESPN.
basketball. You don't have to do it.
No, but you're still
But you have to
competing to
compete
watch.
For ratings.
You have to
For
compete in
ratings,
the media
yeah.
cycle.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you're
Against
always
TV.
competing in
You're
the
always,
media
yeah.
cycle.
Like Stephen
and
A.
that's how
has
they
to-
view it.
Stephen A. has to compete against whatever's on HBO, whatever's
Yeah, on the FS1.
FX,
Whatever's on
just not
ABC.
sports stuff,
Oh, yeah,
whatever on
Disney,
ABC,
Nickelodeon.
Disney.
So you got to think, when is First Take on? Same time as daytime television.
Right. Like you have to compete against the Modern Families, the Stranger Things,
Will and Grace.
All the
I don't know.
streaming- all the streaming
all the
services.
streaming stuff. Like you have to draw people from that to come listen about something so specific as basketball.
So they widened it even more to attract a
Right,
wider
so it's like,
audience.
wow,
the people that don't even like basketball.
Don't even like basketball. If I say
Yeah.
something wild like
We're not-
Michael Jordan ruined this, people would be like, "I know Michael Jordan."
Yeah, I know Michael
What
Jordan.
did he
Yeah.
do?
What do you ruin?
That's
and
a
then,
fair
and then
point.
keeping it real, we take it another step. We make sure to always have. I hope I don't mess up the power for saying this. 1 or 2 pretty looking ladies on there.
Oh,
at
for
all
sure.
times.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like different things that are gonna cause people to tune in of all demographics.
Yeah, it all goes hand in hand.
It's like a media game bigger than just that.
Yeah.
Okay.
The media game.
Good talk, guys.
No, it was a good one.
Very.
NBA draft lottery. This is the last thing. Well, second last thing. We out of here. Has been announced. Orlando Magic get the number 1 pick. Shout out to Orlando Magic. They're gonna blow it some kind of way.
Yeah, they will somehow.
Wow.
But OKC, let's go, baby.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I was happy that y'all got
And
that.
Presti,
joint.
we trust.
Tell
Let's go.
me how sick you would have been if y'all would have got like 9th or like.
Oh, bro, I would have been devastated.
Like after all of this gearing up all these picks, if y'all the first one had landed at like.
They're talking about trading the pick. You do know that, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know. I'm not mad at it. I'm
But
not
trade
mad
the
at
second pick.
Trade
You're trying
second
to
pick
trade
means
the 8th
value.
or 9th.
Y'all got
Yeah.
value.
Which y'all got the
Got
second
2 and 12.
and
Yeah.
the 12.
2 and 12.
Yeah.
Wow.
So Magic at 1, OKC at 2, Houston at 3, Sacramento at 4. They're gonna blow it too. Detroit at 5, Indiana at 6, Portland at 7. Felt bad for Dame. 8 at New Orleans. 8 for New Orleans. 9 for the Spurs. 10 for Washington. 11 for the Knicks. OKC comes back at 12. Charlotte for 13.
Which
Cleveland
is the
for 14.
Clippers pick, but we have Paul George. But yeah, so
Thank you, LA Clippers.
yeah.
We appreciate you. Appreciate your contribution.
As a Thunder fan, I think y'all are in a great spot with all of these picks that y'all have, and the fact that y'all got like Shea and Dort, Giddy. Like, but here's a question: with all these picks and all that y'all are gonna do through the decade, Is Shea here? Is Shea gonna be here when it
I've
gets
been
good?
debating that with myself for quite some time because it's not worthy of pod. Because who wants to talk about OKC when they're not relevant?
But here's the thing though. But here's
Never seen that way.
I have a feeling, yeah, and I think that is
that's unfortunate because I like Shea, but I also understand Shea does not want to be around.
I think y'all need a couple more years.
Right,
Yeah.
Shea does not want to be around for this.
He's 24.
Yeah. By the time y'all gonna be ready, he gonna be 27, 28.
Exactly. Go, man. I'm of the mindset let him go live and go be.
But when do you let him go? Because I think the thing is to make sure that because. I was telling T, I was like, bro, with all these first-round picks and everything that they've given up, I was like, if they don't reach a finals, bare minimum a Western Conference Finals this decade, this was all for a waste. Because you had Paul George and Russ at the beginning of this, well, not technically at the beginning of the decade, like the finish last decade, and you traded them both away for all these picks.
I'm not gonna say that because PG skedaddled in the middle. It was one of them. Like he got the phone call from the Clippers.
Westbrook went first. Let's keep it sad.
Oh no,
Yeah,
Westbrook went first.
went
Westbrook
first.
said he wanted to go
Regardless,
first.
the players were like, bye. So
Right,
you only
I'm
got
saying
so much.
Once you give it up for all those picks, rather than getting actual players.
Oh, that's what you were
That's
talking about.
what I'm
The
saying.
alternative was okay.
Yeah, there's no point in us being because then in theory, if we don't make a conference finals or a finals on the later half of this decade, then we were just bad all this whole decade with a whole bunch of young picks. Like
That's
they're
fair.
banking on, like they're taking the route of we're basically gonna redraft Kevin Durant, Westbrook, and James Harden at some point during this decade.
And the reason I say that them not making a finals wouldn't be
or
like,
conference finals.
them not making conference or finals appearance wouldn't be like the biggest disappointment ever. It's simply because we all can admit drafting Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant, James Harden is like
You drafted 3
striking
MVPs.
gold.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that's
yeah.
striking gold.
Right.
So even if they just draft the team that's let's just say really good, they're a 3 to 6 seed for the next 7 years. They're the Atlanta Hawks of the West. For OKC,
That's a win.
that's a win.
Small market
Now,
team had to
granted,
get it
you
out the
always
draft.
want the title,
But you have touched the finals before, though.
you drafted Kevin Durant.
Facts.
Like you drafted arguably a top 15 player ever. Like that's
It's not
what's
like it was
supposed
a hard,
to happen.
but the thing, yes, they drafted him, but mind you, it wasn't like they're tanking. Like so, they're trying to get these high draft picks. It's not like, I don't know, like it's not like Kevin Durant getting drafted was like us getting Giannis. Like, duh, you're gonna pick him in that moment. They did what they were supposed
That's not
to
true.
do.
He was the second pick, right?
Yeah.
He was the second pick. Yeah, so it's not like they're finding like steals. Drafting
Greg Oden
Kevin,
was the first,
drafting
and it was
Kevin
the
Durant
time
is not
period,
drafting
too.
Manu
But like,
Ginobili.
but how
They're
many
trading
number?
for a bunch of first round
But
picks.
my point is simply like how many number 2 picks become Kevin Durant? Like
And that- it doesn't have
anytime
to
you
be
draft in the
one.
top 3, you're
But think
dead.
about-
You
think-
could have got Andrew Wiggins.
Think about all the
You never
first-round
know what
picks
could
they
happen
have.
in that draft.
Think about all the picks, all the high lottery in first round picks they're gonna have this
and you
decade.
still throwing darts at a board, league.
I can't say this with as many picks as they have.
have-
it
you
shouldn't
should.
it shouldn't
I
feel
agree.
like throwing darts at
You
a
should
board.
hit one. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
argue. You
and that-
should hit one.
and that's
But
the-
if they don't, I'm not gonna be like,
But
y'all
I don't
failed.
think, and I don't
But I
think
don't
their
think
their success should be measured by how far they go into the playoffs. Simply because I think, regardless of the route they built, whether it's going to be trading for the picks or trading for the players, regardless of whether the pieces and packages we could think of real
They
quick
gonna
to
be
pick it
competitive.
up, they're going to compete. And as long as that is happening to a certain level, then I don't think they're fail. I can't guarantee. I don't know what the other teams are going to look like. We're talking about Luka running this league in a little bit.
I think what it'll just show is if they don't touch at least a conference finals in this decade.
Look who they.
I think
around,
going,
Lee.
but that's what you're putting. And what I mean by having all these picks, some of these picks you draft to get an elite guy. Sometimes it's drafting
And sometimes
to get
you flip.
an elite role dude. Sometimes it's getting a coach like Al Horford. Like they traded, you know what I'm saying, like Al
remember I
Horford
saw
and
this pick.
a pick to get him. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like Boston traded
They
it
traded-
for to get Derek White and Al Horford.
And then they flipped that and got a first for Al Horford, which is
Again,
beautiful.
It's crazy.
So that's what I'm saying. When you know what you're doing with your picks, sometimes it's drafting that star guy. Sometimes it's drafting whoever that role player you might need. Sometimes it's trading it for an actual player that's championship now.
And my
Here's-
point.
Oh, go ahead.
My point is simply, like I said, if we're just talking about making a finals appearance, it doesn't matter if you don't get the guy. Like, if you don't get the guy,
Right.
it does not matter. So they just, like I said, I agree. They should theoretically, with all these picks, get the guy.
You should at
least one of
these.
But if they don't, which we've seen happen before,
Yeah, we've seen guy trade away the guy.
like sometimes you just miss,
But then,
and it's not nobody's fault.
but
It
no,
just
no,
is
no,
what
no,
it
no.
is.
I gotta see it when it happens.
In the
to judge it, I
NBA, no.
guess.
When teams do, there are times where I think there's been a few times
Has
where
Philly gotten the guy yet?
you said what?
Has Philly gotten the guy
But
yet?
now let's talk about Philly.
Philly?
You
Why-
about to lose the guy.
I'm gonna say, does Philly have the guy?
They have a guy.
if
They
we're-
have
we're-
a
If we
guy.
trust the process, are we like? Can we still look at Embiid after
Oh, 'cause
everything
they
we've
didn't
seen
get
and
to
say
the-
he's the guy? Like
Yeah.
he's a
He
championship.
is a championship
guy.
piece.
Talent,
Yes, he is
yep.
a championship piece.
Yeah,
Yes,
I'll-
he
I'll
is.
give him that.
He is a championship
give him
piece.
What are you gonna call
I'm talking
the-
about when I say the guy, I'm talking about unquestioned number one guy on a championship
Yes,
team.
I
You
think he
Embiid's
can.
that?
Yes, I think he can be. Yes.
Okay.
They chose
I'm-
to draft. Now, mind you, this is when we get into okay. Now with all of these picks, if OKC is going to choose to draft a guy that is going to just make it obviously known that I'm not going to work on my game, that is like your fault for drafting that dude, and then past that, giving him a
I like how
max
you did that.
contract. And then we're
Nah,
gonna
yeah,
trade
that's
that
nice
draft pick for a dude that is on the decline, that does not want to do what he has to do to be in shape, and pairing that with our MVP candidate
With
draft
our guy,
pick.
our
So
guy.
that's why I'm saying if you don't touch a finals, like you're saying, what you're basically saying is like, yo, OKC in these, mind you, they have almost 15 first-round draft picks this decade.
Yeah.
15.
If they end up like Philly, that's
there's 10
horrible.
years. So I'm saying if you don't get, even if you don't get a Luka Doncic or like a arguably guy that could be like a top 10 dude when it's all said and done.
Tatum.
You don't have to get that. Just get you 2 dudes and a whole lot of depth.
And I think that's
Which is
I
nowhere
just
near as
don't
hard.
think that wins a title. Like I don't
And-
think that makes a
and
final.
so-
Everybody last week would have been like, ain't no way. And can I say hell on the pod?
I've said it
I didn't say
today.
hell. We would
said it
all been
twice.
saying last week, ain't no way in hell that Boston would have had Al Horford in year 15 being the leading scorer for them in a game 1. Right? A guy like Derek White, who's a Division II dude, playing at the level that he is.
I'm not talking like.
But
I feel what you're saying. My point is simply
You can get to
none
a
of that
finals
matters
with-
if you didn't get Jason Tatum.
But mind you, but like I said, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, but like Shay's can be a guy, right? So that's why I'm saying. That's why I asked him. I said, when OKC gets to that
Jersey.
point, it should be with, is Shea gonna be there? Because if so, he could at least be. I don't think Shea is gonna be like a Luka level, but I think at least Shea is a piece where it's like he could be your 2.
I agree, but once again, it goes back to timeline, and he's already 24. He's already spent 2 years. What?
Yeah.
2 years hanging around watching us.
They
lose.
gave him a max though, so he's already
He
acknowledged
got
he
a
got
max.
the big.
He's supposed to get a max.
Yeah, I was about
So
to say.
he's gonna obviously be there though. So he's gonna. give
That's
them-
not true. That's not
3
true.
years actually.
Huh?
They went to the playoffs this first year.
Okay, so 3 years, and that's not necessarily true. Like just because you got a max doesn't mean you're stuck there. We just
No,
saw.
yeah, he's not
we
stuck
just
there.
saw the guy you alluded to hold out.
But Shay's not that type of guy to do
I
that,
agree, but still,
Yeah,
it's-
OKC holds him out, not himself.
Yeah.
But it's the sentiment of, all right, I don't see the value in being here right now. May you please let me leave. I would think Sam Presti, who has shown that ability to say, you know what, Shay,
I get 2 firsts for you,
I
Shay.
get 2 firsts.
Yeah.
Sure.
So and so that's the thought process I have with it. And here's the thing that OKC doesn't. I'm with Brian. OKC does not have to get to a finals to be successful, to call it a success. Because
what is it?
I would love it. I would, of course. I mean, I would love to see it again.
What would you
But-
define? Because you know this is like an error and a trial that like Presti is doing with this. Like, yo, we're gonna get as many first round picks as we can.
Competitive 3-5 range, getting back
So
to
if
the
y'all
playoffs.
never touch a conference finals this decade, because you know you haven't been to a conference finals in the Thunder, y'all haven't been since 16.
Yes,
So you're saying if we don't go this decade, meaning okay, within the first, because OKC moved to.
But
So-
it's
so
context though. It's context though, because here's the thing. We're dealing with a small market OKC. You're saying how easy it is to get elite players. It's not elite. It's not easy.
I didn't say it was easy. I didn't say it was easy
Okay,
to get
you're
elite
saying we
guys.
can just go get elite players. You cannot just go get elite players. Elite players get contracts and they get no trade clauses.
Right.
So that means that
Or
the
they
guy,
just flat say, I'm not coming to OKC.
the guy does not want to go to OKC.
No, you got to
If
draft.
OKC
You have to either
is
draft
stacked.
or trade for. You have to either
Stacked.
draft or trade
You have
for.
to be stacked in order for a guy like that to
Yeah.
make a decision like that. Then let's talk about the guys who are showing up. We just talked about who's growing and who's rising.
Right.
Jason Tatum is rising.
Let's just keep it West. Memphis,
Yeah.
Memphis.
Dallas. Like, is Phoenix really gonna go in unless they like? Are they really gonna go anywhere? Even if
Memphis,
Chris Paul
Dallas,
declines, like they're still
Denver.
a solid team.
Yeah,
Denver's
Denver.
definitely not going anywhere.
Like, okay,
The Clippers, I know.
The Clippers.
Yeah.
I mean,
For at least,
honestly,
2-3 more
I
years.
would say the
they're
next 3
here.
years, y'all straight.
Clippers.
Golden State is here for 2-3 more years at least.
Exactly. And God forbid Jordan Poole, Kuminga,
They just take over.
and Wiseman and Moody decide they want to be something
They're gonna
special.
continue to get better, yeah.
So that you have that. Then let's go
I
across.
thought New Orleans.
Yes,
Not yet.
thank you.
Bro, it's gonna be
So the context itself is the guys may already be here, and the guys we get may not be the guys in front of those guys. And then there's still Giannis on the other side.
I never said whoa. Now, mind you, when you start talking about East, that's implying I'm saying win a chip. I never said they had to win.
I'm
I just
talking-
said, can y'all? So you're saying you're
I'm talking about
cool
the
with not
I'm
touching a
talking
conference
about-
finals for 14 years.
I'm talking
that's
about
what you're saying.
I would rather Sam Presti is doing something that
What is it that he's trying to do?
Sam Presti realized that I had an aging point guard,
Right.
and that I was willing to let rock out here,
Yeah.
but he made his own decision. I had an aging point guard, and I had a 3-and-D, elite 3-and-D,
Elite.
3-and-D.
No, not 3-and-D. Elite two-way.
Two-way, thank you. I'm sorry. Elite two-way, excuse me. Elite two-way decide they don't want to be here anymore. I don't have any other options but to start over. I have to build this from the ground up. He's going to build this from the ground up. He's going to put us back in a competitive space where we can be the Atlanta or the Portland.
They were a conference final team.
The Denver at
They
that
should
time.
be trying to
The
get back
Denver
to
at that time.
what they
No
were.
one's saying they shouldn't be trying though.
I'm not saying that.
We're saying if Portland didn't make that one conference final.
At least
run,
they've made one though.
But
That's
no,
what I'm
but
saying. Like,
this is my
it's
question.
possible.
But this is my
It's
question.
possible.
If Portland didn't make that run, let's say for whatever reason they had lost
Then yeah.
to Denver that year, would you classify that entire Portland thing as a disappointment? Like everything they accomplished would just be a disappointment.
I wouldn't say it was a
As a
disappointment,
franchise,
but
you
they
can't.
got to it in a different manner.
What's the different manner?
Don't forget, 5 years prior to Portland making that conference final, so they made that in 19. A couple years prior, everybody just left. So like, if
14
anything,
when,
if,
all
remember
four
like
of their five
Batum,
stars-
Well, I'm trying to figure out how that's a different
if
manner
anything,
than OKC.
give them credit because their dudes just left in free agency for nothing. So like, OKC got pieces to start their rebuild with. Portland didn't. So the fact that they were able to get be better
That
than
you
what
know.
they were before with nothing to start with, that shows like with the right pieces you can get there. Do you get what I'm
Once
saying?
again, I think it, but I
You
think
get what
so-
I'm saying,
But
T.
I
do.
get what you're saying. I
100%,
think
but
so
their
much of that
argument is this
circumstance.
right here. Their argument this entire time has been that you need that one player. Portland had Dame. Like that's the only.
But mind you,
little
but the thing is,
I can come
if we're gonna easily just say Dame, right? It's easy to just say Dame, but basketball is still a team sport.
Oh, for sure. You had to develop
That
put him
Denver,
around
that
him.
Denver series was CJ.
Yeah, facts.
Dame,
I said that for
Dame
years.
won that OKC joint against Paul George and Russ.
CJ
It was
carried
CJ.
them in Denver.
Mind you, so we're talking about a late lottery pick. Mind you, OKC has 2 and 12. Late, mind you, and I think they were talking about who they're talking about. OKC getting at 12.
It says
Tari
check on the
Eason.
board,
Hey,
but I don't-
they
I
should
don't
not
think
get
it's-
him.
oh,
One
you
one
checked
guy I
that.
did see,
hearing
a dude that's going to Cleveland, Malachi Branham. Like, I'll just say this: with how good OKC could be determined by these pieces that they get in the draft and how they're used. I'm looking at OKC's team right
But that's
now.
every franchise. Like
Right, but
Golden
how
State
many-
hit on Jordan Poole at the 28 pick. Like,
and that's credit to them, and that's why
but
they're
how many-
here right now.
But how many picks did they miss on before that?
But I
Jordan
think the
Bell,
thing we're
Patrick
trying to measure right
Like,
now is how much can you do in terms of OKC before you realize this is a failed rebuild. And he put the timestamp on it and
I'm giving them the
conference
whole
finals by a
decade.
decade.
I'm giving them the
So
whole
if
decade.
we're doing a time span, like I never think how far you go should necessarily be a reflection of everything.
Yeah.
But if we're talking about getting from a rebuild to a certain point, there should be a marker. So I don't think conference finals is my marker, but there has to be something before you realize y'all BS the decade after this rebuild. So that's
Because
true,
I'm-
but I wouldn't
I'm
use
cool-
the same
and
marker
I'm cool
as
with
him.
that
I'm
thought.
good with
I'm
that.
cool with that thought process, and I'm sure Sam Presti has that same thought process.
'Cause-
But my point is, when you're a small market franchise, looking at the landscape of what the league is becoming, because you're not walking into a league where
This league was
where-
always
where-
about stars. Don't get it twisted. Like
But here's
just
the thing.
this
But
decade.
I'm talking about a league where we have an undefined stature of like who's who.
Right.
Like
they feel everywhere.
It is clear cut who is next up and who's who.
Yeah, for sure. Mind you, Shea is a guy in that like of young dudes. Mind you, he is in that second. Like remember we were talking about earlier, like
second
Book
that tier.
We were saying Book is
you got to
leading
go
that.
through me for
Shea
second
is
round.
like a couple seats behind.
We're talking
Book
about
in that tier. So like what I'm just saying is I'm looking at the roster right now. Mind you, it's still 2022. This is early. If they reach one conference finals in 2029, because whoever they beat in the second round was hurt, okay, cool. Like you check the box, but like I said, looking at what they got Dort on a very good cheap contract for years going forward. As we see in the playoffs right now, Dort can be their Marcus Smart. Okay, how good do we actually think Josh Giddey is going to be long term? I think he can be good.
He'll be solid.
Like
decent.
And that's going to have to be a pick where it's like, okay, if he didn't turn out good, we're going to need to go back and see who did we pick Josh Giddey over. I think Shea can be a good 2 guy. Right? So what they're going to have to figure out with him is like, dude, if anything, with the max contract he's on, the reason I don't think he might be gone immediately, they gave him a max where it was kind of like, we don't have to give you this much money right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like you Darius Garland, best player on the team and got us to the playoffs. The year they gave him the max was right after CP3 and Schroeder were there.
I thought it was like calm the nerves money.
19
like yeah,
huh? Shea was averaging 19 on that
but
team.
mind you, he was still.
He was showing he was a player.
He was showing, but he wasn't showing yet that like I'm
not
super max.
But that's not fair either because Darius Garland in that Cleveland roster is really good, and I've been screaming about Cleveland all season long.
Fair enough.
Like you got Evan Mobley, who looks like the next coming of KG. Like you have Darius Garland, who's hooping. Jared Allen.
Who do you think has had a better individual season? Is what I'm saying. Like Darius Garland.
Kevin Love popped back in when it got marketing. Like Laurie Market. Like that was still nice,
right?
bro.
But it was still led with Darius being the best player, and they did make the play in. I'm saying when they gave Shea his bread, he was the 3rd guy. It was CP, Schroeder being 6th man of the year, and then Shea. So I think for them giving him that much money at that point, it was like, dude, we already traded you for PG. And like you're gonna be the beginning piece that we build around.
I hope so.
I don't think he's gonna be on Donovan Mitchell's time trying to get out.
It's all predicated on how soon the rest of the others pay him. Because if they don't pay him within the next 2 years, he's out of there.
And then at that point, and that's even if they do at that point, it's like, okay, y'all just better make sure y'all get something good back.
Sam Presti never failed with that. I've never seen him mess up a trade.
And the thing is, it's like, okay, at that point,
I've never seen him mess up a trade.
Are you gonna get? Yeah, at that point,
the James Harden.
That's not his
that's
fault.
not his fault.
That's
not his fault. That's still not his fault though.
I'm taking that to my
his name's
grave.
not even on that. He would have just gave James the money.
Bro.
Yeah. So like I said, if let's say it gets to that point where Shea's like, yo, I want to get up out of here, then it's like, okay, just make sure y'all trade him for some quality pieces. If they don't even, I'll say for sure, if they don't ever see a second round, I think we can easily say, if they don't see a second round, this decade it's a failure.
No, it's easily a failure. I think they should do a little bit more. I just can't mark it by rounds because, there's so much that takes in place, who you're playing that year, the roster, the squad. You might have had your finals run that year and then boom, second round injury. So now I got to look at your whole rebuild like it's a failure. So I think there's context. I think second round is definitely minimum.
I feel like if they don't at least make a second round, I think we can call it a failure.
But they should at least be able to compete steadily in the second round, and that's what I'm expecting out of the next couple of years from OKC.
Like here's the
Go ahead.
Were you talking about who should they take?
No, I was about to go into another question.
I'll finish this up with OKC, but it's more so like a prime example in this draft. It's said that they're probably going to take Chet. I personally think, I go back and forth with Manny on this all the time, I think Paolo's a better fit for what it is they need. I think Paolo could potentially be a type of guy where it's like, okay, Shea, even if you're not going to be that 27 a night number 1 superstar, if you're a solid 2, be a solid Jaylen Brown type of guy every night. And then a dude like Paolo could potentially grow into maybe being that 3rd dude. And maybe OKC is never a team where they have that one super duper leading top 3 potential player.
But it could be like the Grizzlies in the late 2000s when they flirted with that conference finals.
With Shea,
got there, but
Shea being a strong 2, but we just got great depth. After that, just great depth. Potentially 8 to 9 guys that we could want to play that we draft between the 1st and 2nd round. Let OKC find a way to get their hands on Mark Williams. That's great for their future.
I agree.
No, Mark Williams is tough.
I agree. So looking at this. we spend a lot of time on OKC itself.
They got half the draft picks
Yeah.
in the next coming years.
They do, so we should.
But
Every
that's
draft
fair.
show should start with OKC.
But that's fair. That's fair. There's some players in here that made some great runs. New Orleans being one of them.
Mm-hmm.
What can they add to push themselves to the next level? Which player? Yeah, New Orleans. What can they add in this draft? You can say, okay, this is definitely a plus for our rotations.
I pray they don't take
in the playoffs.
I pray they don't take AJ Griffin. Now I know analytics wise, and he did shoot it well at Duke. There's just a part of me that feels
You don't
like,
think it's real?
yeah, I don't know if it's real. And it's like, are you gonna hit at that clip on an NBA 3-point line? Like,
I mean, like I said, he looks the part. He's got the body physically, but like, yeah, that jump shot.
I question. Like, I would go Johnny Davis before him.
That's interesting.
I would
Johnny's
go-
a bucket though.
I would go Johnny Davis. And I think the reason why a guy like Johnny Davis is like, it's like I said, Boston is showing it's like, what are you drafting guys for, right? Johnny Davis is the leading scorer at Wisconsin, one of the top wings in the country. I'm not asking you to come in and be my number one option. I have Brandon Ingram and CJ McCollum. I just need you to be on this corner, be on this wing, for when they even think about helping, I can kick it to you. Now you can either shoot it, drive it, and create for somebody else.
Alleviate
and
the
do it with
pressure.
confidence.
Yeah.
Like, the Clippers have been trying to base their team. Jerry West, Lawrence Frank had said it. He was like, we're looking more at basketball on the offensive end when they were saying we need a point guard, we need a true point guard. He's like, we're looking at play initiators, play connectors, play finishers.
Yep.
How are we going to create an advantage? With my dribble, with my pick and roll, am I setting screens and diving? Okay, play connectors are meaning, boom, I kick it to you, you swing it to the next dude. Because you know you're not a shooter.
You know
all right,
you're not a finisher. So
I'm
you
gonna
just make the right
I'm gonna just
read.
get off of immediately. Or maybe when I see, like, Draymond Green does a great job at this, guys are gonna help off of me because I'm not a shooter. I'm not gonna stand here spotting up, acting like I'm a shooter. So when you go to help, I'm gonna use the space that I have and I'm gonna go screen away for somebody else.
Right.
Play finishers now, lob threats, spot up shooting guys, dudes that cut back door.
And the word that, in terms of all of that, when you break it down to one word, you're talking about cohesion. And so you're screaming out, okay, how do I put together a team where a play connector doesn't feel uncomfortable with his role because this has always been him. He's always had this mentality.
The hockey assist guy.
Right, the hockey assist guy,
You
or
need
the
that.
screener and the roller.
The screener
the guy
and
that get the
rollers,
board
yeah.
in the outlet. Like,
Getting all the stats that don't necessarily show
Add
up.
up.
lob threats. Like, guys like Robert Williams, guys like Kevon Looney, guys like Jared Allen we mentioned before. Like,
Elite play finishers. Never gonna be a play starter.
right.
It's not your job.
And so I get where you're going with that. I get where you're going with that for sure.
So, like, I think a guy like them, another dude on here, I mean,
The question for them is always going to be the Zion question, which right now it looks like he's going to be there.
he's gonna play next
so he's
year.
going to play next season. But if you know Zion's there for a year,
I told y'all what I would do.
Yeah.
I told y'all.
What would you do?
I told them. I think it was a pod or two ago. It was a while, but I was like, I think it was last pod.
You would trade Zion?
I don't see what else we finna talk about.
if you
Fair. I'm not
if he's
mad. I'm not
playing-
mad.
If you know he's playing next season, I think their biggest concern now, they got to get a stretch five.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Like,
that's why
the-
when I was looking at New
Valanciunas
Orleans,
technically.
No, he's not a stretch
You're not gonna
five.
believe it?
Like,
Okay,
Ingram-
okay.
Ingram-
I don't
no,
know.
don't
He's had a
wrong.
great
He
year,
can
though.
make shots.
You don't
Yeah.
believe
but
it.
he's
You don't
not
believe
a
it.
stretch
I
five.
feel it.
You need a five that, for lack of a better term, has gravity. Because you want Zion to just have
Just
free
have the whole
reign
lane. Yeah,
in the
yeah,
lane.
yeah.
Just do you got Ingram, you got CJ as your play starters. You need a play
Who
finisher. on
who
the
is
perimeter.
that though?
I don't know if there's one in this draft. The one that's actually the most interesting, if they would trade up, would be Chet.
You're saying New Orleans?
Yeah.
They
that
would-
would be interesting.
I don't think
They're
they'd
not
be
going
able
to
to
trade up
trade.
for it,
Yeah.
but it would be interesting.
But I was even looking. I knew there was no stretch five in this draft.
Yeah.
Is there even a tradable stretch five? Because I
No.
think any true stretch five ain't no
They
team letting
locked
go
in,
right now.
bro.
Ain't no stretch five.
You're big that can shoot. I mean, Brooke Lopez been getting paid.
Bro,
he ain't been going
he's been
nowhere.
I don't think like in this league right now. I don't think stretch fives are on the market on any team.
Bro, you gotta create them.
So you're probably not going to get a true stretch five. You're probably going to end up getting a stretch four who you play.
Who
as
you
a
play at the
five.
five? Which at that point I think you just do Jonas Valanciunas.
PJ Tucker's.
But I don't think Jonas wants to operate on the block as
Yeah,
well.
fair
Like
enough,
that's
yeah.
he's also a really good post up player as well.
Yeah,
So he's
yeah,
not
yeah.
going to just see those touches to Zion.
Fair.
Like you want a dude who's actually going to be comfortable saying, "I'm going to take 8 threes a game from here, and that's my job." Like Period. And I can sometimes be a rim protector. That's extremely hard to find.
So you're talking about they got to find a way to get Kristaps, but he makes too much money. That's I think the only guy that is
That
who
would
you're
actually-
talking
I
about.
would say that's the only person in the league
I think that's
that
if you just said
that
yeah.
protects the rim and
and
can,
wants to shoot 8 threes
I mean,
a game. I think that's
wants to. He definitely wants to.
Kristaps
Like, I
would
think
love
that's-
to do that.
I think that's like you need somebody in that realm.
I think if
and that's
Kristaps-
extremely hard to find.
If Kristaps heard his coach be like, "I want you to shoot 8 threes a game," I think
like-
he would fall into their arms and start crying.
Probably.
I've been
if
waiting.
he
for
heard
But-
that, he'd probably promote the pod right now.
But this was always my concern with Zion from the beginning because it's extremely hard to build a championship team or a winning team
Around
him, yeah,
that type
yeah.
of guy because that's what he needs to be successful in the NBA.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Who else y'all looking at? I mean,
That's why I would have took Ja.
So who else is in here?
I pray
Absolutely.
Jaden Ivey
Shannon.
doesn't go to Sacramento.
no, there's no
Yeah,
way.
I
There's
pray
no
so.
way. And actually, I actually like the spot Sacramento's in. Like I know y'all didn't
But-
like the
but-
Sabonis trade and everything, but like it to me, it still wasn't a horrible trade. And like I said, if they hit on this draft pick, like they're in a good spot. Like you're walking into next season with 2 All-Stars.
Because they
and
got
a young
what?
player.
Because they got what? They got De'Aaron. They got Harrison, Sabonis.
Buddy? No, Buddy got
Buddy's
moved.
gone.
He got moved in that trade. Excuse me.
Halliburton's gone.
Halliburton got moved in that trade too. Yeah, we had the whole
They're
pod
in a
about
weird
that.
spot, bro. Like the Kings are in a.
Say what I said.
The Kings are always in a weird spot. They're the Kings. I don't think they're gonna do anything this draft that's gonna make me
When
think
will the
any
Kings?
differently than
When
I
will the
think of
Kings make
last
the
year.
playoffs?
Ooh, that's a.
I think they could realistically be in a play-in this year.
This coming year? Because yeah, they were.
No, they were out of it this year. But
No,
they kind of tanked that day.
Yeah, I'm looking. Yeah, they were
They gave up.
They were worse than the Lakers. So
I'm
like,
not a betting man.
Do they crack the first round in the next 4 years?
I'm not a gambling man. They do not.
I don't think so either.
They do not.
I'll put against it. I'm a gambling man. I'll bet against it.
Yeah,
who
David
make the
Mitchell.
This is how you. This is for sure how you know OKC fails with all these draft picks. They should make the playoffs more than Sacramento this decade.
That's fair.
Sacramento's so bad because they're ahead of OKC in terms of like player.
Yes, they should. They
so
should.
Sacramento's that bad. Yes, OKC in theory, in my theory, should make the
Because
playoffs
well, technically
more
OKC
than,
made it in the
but
bubble.
once again, that has nothing to. In my mind, that has less to do with who they draft and more to do with how bad of an organization
Jason is
Sacramento is.
That I agree with.
I'm saying that's why I'm saying OKC should.
I agree with that.
Because I think Sacramento will make it one. Like for the fact Minnesota made it to the playoffs this year, Sacramento I think will touch it some point this decade.
Facts. So then my question is, I think the person I would want Sacramento to really go at or to take the gamble on would be Shaedon Sharp.
That's the he's
Like,
the
he's the
mystery
he's the
box
mystery box
of the draft.
that
I was about
if
to say,
anybody
man.
everybody that's seen him says no, that's a NBA shooting guard right now, no questions asked.
The only question is just like, yo, like I said, like we've coached AAU, and this is gonna just be a
Does it
crazy
translate?
story. Seeing a guy literally, he has not played like his
AAU the league.
literally from
That's how it's
AAU
felt.
Brandon
to
Jennings.
it's not how it's felt. It's how it is.
No,
He
it's
didn't
real.
play his senior year of high school because he enrolled at Kentucky, and then he just they said he really didn't even practice like that all the time when he was there. He literally has not played competitive bump since Beach Jam last July.
Facts.
And it's gonna go from like, oh, I'm matching up against
18-year-olds.
Boo Williams to like, holy moly, you're Jaylen Brown. Like,
No, that's real.
Shoot, let's start low. You're Anthony Edwards. Like
but he's like,
Let's start lower. Well, he'll be drafted to Portland theoretically. Now you got to come in the league and you got to guard Anthony Simons. I'm taking it there. When you haven't played college basketball,
real.
it's some guys who are not
That-
seeing minutes that are going to destroy you when you're first entering.
the issue with, and that's like I said, a kid like Shaedon Sharp and where he lands, it shows why the league is so very situational. Because if he gets drafted to a team, now if he's good enough, it's going to be no issue, which he might be. But let's say he's not. Because if you're taking a kid that young,
Let's say it's gonna take him 2 years to figure it out.
and then does that team, are they going to work with him well enough for those 2 years?
Are they going to Anthony Simons him? Portland did a really good job at drafting, picking up a young Anthony Simons, drafting him, and it got to the point where
'Cause
everybody was like,
he came straight out of IMG.
Yeah,
right?
he literally didn't do any college
yeah,
either.
so it got to a point where people are wondering, like, oh,
Why is he-
if Dame is leaving, we're not necessarily going to build the team around Anthony, but Anthony about to see how good you are. You're going to get the shade treatment
He's gonna
for the
get
next couple of years.
But the question is, will somebody give that for him? Because
For Shaedon, yeah.
Anthony was put in the incubator for like 2 years.
Yeah,
He's
he
been
was
in the league
had
for
a
4
year in the
years.
G League. Yeah, I think then he came up. They moved him up. Like, yeah, he spent. It took him time to get up to speed, as it would. Like,
Yeah.
Right.
That's what you would expect.
So
to
would
happen
somebody
with any young
protect
player.
Jalen Shaedon
Shaedon Sharp.
in those moments when he's first coming in the league, and you have to understand like last time he's played competitive
right,
basketball.
He's 2 years away.
Yeah.
From being what we need.
I think at least, because if you're gonna take a kid that young, that high, you're obviously drafting him to be a dude on your team. It's gonna take him time. So if you are drafting him to be, I need you to be the guy year one, or like we're gonna get upset, that's gonna be a bad fit.
Yeah.
Right. Another great dude that I think is gonna help whatever team he goes to. It falls under that like play connector like category I was talking about was Benedict Mathurin.
I haven't seen a lot of him.
So, bro, he's really, really big, strong, like 6'6" wing that went to Arizona. I heard a really good player compared to him a while back. Someone said a little bit taller, Jason Richardson. That was the two
That's
guards.
extremely explosive.
But, bro, he is. He is that.
I'm not disagreeing. I'm just
he
saying, like,
is
Jason.
that- he-
I think we forget how great of an athlete Jason Richardson
And y'all remember,
was.
you
He
know what
was
I'm talking
crazy.
about, dunk contest, play with Phoenix, play with Golden State. That type of dude, which I will say, honestly, truly, he is. Like, at Arizona, he had to be, like, the guy in terms of putting on the ground, taking tough shots. But I think if you put him in the NBA where he has an elite point guard with him, where, like, him going to Indiana where it's like Halliburton's creating everything for me, or Brogdon, and I just got to make corner threes or just catch and rip and go baseline and be athletic, I think that's a great spot for him. Like, so much of the league, like, is situational. Like, recently I've been talking with Manny about, like, how I feel about Tyler Hero in the league is, like, yo, I think he is a good player, but I do think he lucked up with what his game was and coming
He's
into
talking about
the-
starting next
Absolutely.
year, even if it's like other teams. My bad to cut you off.
You
Like,
good.
you're not gonna be. It's not like it's not gonna be that 20 a game.
He thinks he's a starting two because it's like,
Yeah.
Tyler, you're obviously not a point guard, so you're saying that you're a
You're
starting.
two. You're
I
two.
don't think he's a starting two guard in this league.
I think he is on a bad team.
But that's what I meant. That's what I meant.
And that's, like I said, it's prime situational. I think, like I said, Benedict going to a team like Indiana would be really good for him. I think, yeah, Shaden, that's going to be a situation of, like, if that team is expecting him to, like, carry immediately and they're not going to wait.
So then the perfect spot for Shaden is San Antonio.
Yeah.
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 I mean, like I said,
If-
that's
if
how
what
we're
we-
gonna
based
talk
off what
about
we're talking
Shaden.
Yeah,
about-
best of
A team that's willing to wait on a young kid that sounds like San Antonio or OKC.
Yeah.
But he's not going
He's
to
not gonna
he's
fall.
not going to
Yeah,
drop to 12.
If he falls to 12, that's red flags everywhere.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. I'm looking at who else.
Now that you talk about Benedict, say his last name again for me.
Matherin.
Matherin.
Yeah.
Like, now he's one I would want to see in Sacramento.
I wouldn't want to see anybody.
I know nobody. We were having the conversation. I get it. We don't want nobody to go to Sacramento. But like, if you're asking me, like, who would to put on, like,
But
am
I get what you're
low-key
saying. I get what
Feeling
you're
like
saying.
Sacramento has a solid team for next year.
They do.
That's-
Mike
So-
Brown's gonna be their coach now, so like
So we'll see. Like, I hope he's learned from his past mistakes.
they're
He's been on
keeping
Golden
Alvin
State.
Gentry, I think, up in the front
So
office.
like,
So
I think they're actually in a good spot going forward. Now, will management mess it up?
Vladdy
The
Divac.
world may never know.
We
No,
do
we're
know.
gonna
We do know.
We're
We
gonna
do
find
know.
out.
Hey,
We're
hey.
gonna find out.
Stat man, I seen the percentages, dog.
Yeah, but say don't let
But-
the dice roll you on this one.
Like next year, they're walking in with a solid team. They get a good young player to go along with it. Like, I think they're in a good spot. We just gotta wait
Sacramento
to
will
see
be
if
in a
Maxim
good
does
spot?
that. I think they're in a good spot for next year.
They're
Like, I think they should legitimately walk into next season feeling like we should be somewhere between
should be
7
the
and
10
10.
seed.
7 and 10. They should honestly feel like that. Like, you have 2 All-Stars. Why shouldn't you feel that way?
Darren Fox hasn't made an All-Star
He
game.
should, like, he's
He
an
hasn't made an
All-Star
All-Star
caliber
game.
player. He's a 25 and 8 guy. Like, he's an All-Star
He's
caliber
averaged 25
player.
and 8.
Yes.
He averaged 25. and 8?
Yes.
I love
but-
Darren. I just didn't know he
yeah,
averaged
but
25 and 8.
I'm not-
I only knew
That's a
because we had a
conversation.
discussion about it one
That's a
time.
conversation I'll have for another day because I'm not gonna spend time hating.
No, shout out to Aaron. I don't really hate on him too
25
much,
and 7
but
last
No, I like Darren.
Yeah.
I like De'Aaron too,
But those numbers are whatever for me.
But I do have reservations about.
yeah, no, those numbers are just whatever for me because they're the Kings that don't contribute to win.
I do think, yeah, he is a dude that needs to get in a winning situation. Like, I think, like I said, a guy like him, a guy like Dejounte Murray, I want to see in a winning situation because I
Really talented, two really talented individuals. I had Murray winning Most Improved this year, and I think he got robbed, but whatever. Shout out Ja or Bane or whoever they
Ja.
sharing it
Ja
with.
just dropped it off the bank.
yeah.
But all right, y'all. Let's get to the shout outs.
Right,
Shout outs
right.
to the All NBA teams. 1, 2, and 3, as well as the All NBA defensive team. Giannis, Luka, Nikola Jokic, Devin Booker, Jason Tatum make up the first team. Second team, Joel Embiid, Ja Morant, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, DeMar DeRozan. Third team, Karl Anthony Towns, LeBron James, Chris Paul, Trae Young, and Pascal Siakam.
I was shocked looking back at this third team with Chris Paul and Pascal is very, very interesting.
I mean, they won 65 games.
Yeah, but Chris Paul was out for a good amount in the second half
So
of
was
the
Devin
year.
Booker.
That's
John Morant missed 25, 30 games.
yeah.
Steph Curry did too.
I'm a little shocked.
Kevin Durant.
Shoot.
I mean, my only gripe is Embiid not being first.
First
team.
team, yeah.
I think
You
that's
can't
my
be
only
the
gripe.
second.
That's the only-
You can't have a top 2 season in the league and not be a
only
top
argument-
5
The only
guy.
argument with that is like this has to be positionless.
Yeah, it
That's
has,
the
which
only
it should
argument.
because the league is positionless right now. Because who is truly like really? What position is Luka Doncic? Like,
Basketball player.
and that's my thing. It's like by the what we define a point guard to be, he's not that because he's 6'8". He's not like
6'8".
yeah.
6'6".
He's nah, bro.
6'8"?
He's
That man's
6'8",
6'8", bro.
He's
He's
6'8".
always been 6'8".
He's 6, bro.
He a
He's
big dude.
bro. When I watched him,
He makes PG look small.
when I
sometimes,
watched
bro.
him drive Kawhi Leonard last year and put his shoulder into him, and I saw Kawhi fall, I was like, oh my goodness.
and that's without him working out.
Right.
And he a solid dude.
Him with the
too,
hookah.
Like,
So that's what I'm saying. So
Drinking wine before the game.
and then even by like he's not a small forward.
Nah.
He's not like it. Like
He's
is
a
he a
he's a
shooting
play
guard?
starter. That's what he is. He's a play starter.
Yeah, that's my only gripe. My only gripe is Embiid not being first team. But I get it.
Jokic was in.
Jokic was
better.
MVP. You know.
But it's like Jokic is put. Okay, so yeah, they got him down as a center. It's strange, bro. It's strange. The position. It should just be best 5 guys. Because I mean, everybody in the
So
NBA switches
that means
everything.
that means that literally that starting that top 5 would be Embiid, Giannis, Jokic,
Yeah, Luka
Luka.
and
Now, does Tatum beat out Steph and Morant?
yeah, Morant. I think he beats out Morant.
Does he beat out Steph?
No.
We can talk about that.
But
That's a
here's
bad
the
point.
thing. Here's the thing.
I'm just having a
No,
conversation.
really.
Yeah,
but
that's the
it's-
one-
yeah,
that's
that's
the-
yeah, that's
here's
up in there.
There also has to be some level of conversation about games played.
yeah,
That's real.
Like
And that's
we have
yeah.
to have a conversation about games played, and should that play a factor in your
yeah, it should to a certain level.
Definitely should.
It probably
So-
already does, but it should definitely be a number more broadcasted. Like you should have to play like 60 games to,
Yeah.
to enter an
Yeah.
all
I
NBA.
think there is a minimum.
There is a
Yeah, I
minimum.
think the minimum's like 40 though. Like the
Yeah.
I don't
minimum's
think-
not
It's
like a
two-
minimum.
Yeah, it's yeah.
I mean, it's a
You
minimum.
play half the season. Come on, dog.
Man, if I was averaging 35 half the season, bro, hey.
you can struggle.
You know I'm the third best player in the league.
You can struggle for an all NBA third team. Just out of respect, though, I can only give so much for half a season. But you're right. You're right. When you're averaging 30, 35.
Was Pascal even? Was Pascal an All-Star this year?
I don't think he was.
I don't think he was.
So, like, how
Fred
can-
VanVleet made
How
All-Star
can you
game
not
last
be
year.
in like the game for the top
I think
24
he was
dudes
hurt
in
at
the
the beginning of the
league?
season, though, so that played a factor. And he did turn up at the end of the season.
But we gotta realize, like,
I
the real issue with this too is always gonna be how they vote. Like, who gets
Yeah.
to vote, why they vote. Like, Jalen Rose even came back and apologized
Yeah,
for
for
one of
voting
his
for
votes.
I didn't
Kyrie.
want
Yeah,
to.
and I'm
Jalen
like,
Rose.
I didn't
But
want to hear that.
think about how many mistakes or dumb decisions get made on the.
Who
on
was the
back
one
end
girl that
behind.
didn't
put Anthony
AD
Davis
the-
on? Oh, was that wasn't Carrie Cham? It was
I forget who it was.
was it Maria?
I think it was maybe.
Maria Taylor.
Somebody
it was.
It was a woman.
I think
on
it may
ESPN.
have been her. It may
I
have
want to
been
say
her.
it was Maria Taylor.
When was this? What year?
Just
was
like
this?
2 years ago.
I think it was during the bubble.
don't
The
even
bubble
And
year.
she didn't put Anthony Davis on,
And
her.
on any of the teams. Said he was not a top 15 dude that year.
Wow.
But this is what I mean, though. Like,
Wouldn't have been
the
Doris.
real big problem about these lists aren't the fact that they're positionless. It's the fact that I honestly wish the names or something like that got a little bit more attached. Like who you vote for, the way you view it.
No, we've talked about
this
this.
is changing people's like lives. Money is
Yeah.
being affected because of I can't get the super duper max
Facts.
because you left me off third team for Pascal Siakam. Like.
Can we stop giving Pascal Siakam this hate? Like
Chris
average
Paul.
23 and 8
Chris
on a
Paul.
48
I'm just
win
saying.
team,
I'm just
like-
saying. I had to
Hey,
pick somebody.
Random tweet I had saw when we were talking about like when we were talking a couple minutes ago about like OKC and who they're gonna pick or whatever. I saw this tweet. It was a Boston fan. They were like, "Thank you, Philadelphia. Y'all
No, I saw that one.
yeah, it was like y'all gave us Markelle. Y'all traded for Fultz over Jason Tatum. Y'all took Ben Simmons over Jaylen Brown. Y'all traded for Matisse Thybulle over instead of Grant. Y'all hired MA as an assistant.
The Matisse Grant thing is interesting.
Yeah, right. Hired MA as an assistant and hired Doc. Y'all traded Al in the first round pick for Danny Green. So when I was saying you'd be surprised where OKC could get if they just made the right moves.
Yeah, it literally made the right decisions.
Once again, percentages, dog. Percentages.
Yeah, Boston shot high. they shot a high percentage on that one.
Man, if Markel didn't make bad decisions,
Man,
we be
I was talking to you.
we be having a
Hey,
totally
look,
different
man.
conversation right now.
Shout out. We're not gonna do it. We're not gonna do it to Markel.
Shout out my
man.
mama. It's-
Shout out
it's bike
to
season. It's
NBA
my mama.
All Defensive Team. Marcus Smart.
Yeah.
Mikal Bridges.
Yeah.
Rudy Gobert. Giannis.
Yeah.
Jaren Jackson
Yeah.
Jr. for the first team. Second team, Bam Adebayo. Drew Holiday.
Facts.
Matisse Thybulle.
Yeah.
Robert Williams. And Draymond Green.
The one thing about the defensive team, and mind you, like, because it's positions, we're gonna have to argue people. I think Dejounte Murray led the league in like steals or like steals per game, and I know it happened once when Steph did it a couple years back. And I always said Steph can play defense great in the passing lanes. That's the first thing y'all ever heard me say about his defense, which has gotten way better now, but we're not talking about that. Dejounte Murray not making one of these was kind of irritating for me because I watched a lot of his games. I was invested this year, obviously. So that will be the one knock.
This is tough,
I would give
though.
this list.
This is tough. That's tougher. That's more difficult for me, even though, because who are you taking out?
That's why I said
10. Just the 10. I mean,
yeah.
we could guards. I mean, I get the guards, but 10. Drew Holiday's probably the best perimeter defender.
Marcus Smart would deny that, but all right.
You said what?
Marcus Smart would disagree with that, but all right.
With what?
Best
Drew
perimeter
Holiday's the
defender.
Best perimeter defender. Marcus Smart would definitely.
Drew's the best perimeter defender in the league.
Yeah, that's what he said.
I'm willing to debate it.
I know-
I'm willing to
I mean,
debate it.
all I know
We're
is
not
he's
gonna.
there's like 10
We gotta get out of here.
I mean, yeah,
but I'm
yeah,
willing
yeah.
So I
to
won't
debate it.
argue it. That's how I feel.
I mean,
I'm
we
like,
can cut the
I won't
mics off,
argue
and I can talk about that while we clean up. Like, that ain't nothing.
I just know it's not Mikal Bridges anymore. But all right.
So
I don't think it ever was.
No, people were legit talking
At one
about
point, I was
Mikal.
on that train.
They were,
I
no,
wasn't.
that was a
I
big
was like,
train.
he's
And
really
Lucas
good.
said, all right, bro.
I was ready to call Mikal like he was a summer of ball handling development away from being a young Kawhi, but then I had to.
A summer of ball handle development away from
I was
being
high on
Kawhi
him.
Leonard.
Sounds very similar to a Kyle Kuzma take. But anyway.
So I guess the only guy that's even questionable on this list is Matisse. But Matisse had a
he's not
great
questionable.
defensive
He
year.
is
Matisse is a great defender.
He's a great
But that's
defender.
the whole point.
There's nothing
I
questionable.
can bring that name to make the argument was really hard for me, which is
Yeah.
why I didn't make it. I was
feel
like,
I
I
do
can't.
think-
I honestly cannot take anybody out this list, even if I try to argue for somebody else being.
We need a
on.
third team.
We need a third
We need a
team.
third defensive team.
I wouldn't be mad at that.
I wouldn't be mad at all.
mean,
Defense
yeah.
is really important.
If defense,
Can we
matters
get
more-
another 5 players?
All
Yeah.
NBA team is just offense.
can.
That's all it is.
Boom. Dejounte starts on that first team. That third team. I'm trying to think who else.
We can fill it out.
Easily.
It's a third team. We can fill it out. Pascal made this. I'm picking on Pascal. But I'm just saying, we're talking about all
I know the
NBA
spin move
team.
crazy, but come on.
He's averaging like 24-6 or 24-7. Excuse me. I can't get the numbers all in my
maybe
head.
put like Dylan Brooks.
I can find a defensive person who
We
Greg
can
Dudley,
definitely
he's
talk
not gonna
about
have a
that.
conversation.
If you want to debate Dylan Brooks, we
I'm
can
just
talk
saying,
about
like guys, like okay, you could put Jimmy Butler easily in that third team.
Okay.
anytime.
Yeah.
You
All
could
right,
put-
cool.
You could put PJ Tucker in that third team. You could put Jaylen Brown in there. You could put I mean Giannis was already on.
Andrew
Giannis,
Wiggins.
Yeah,
Wigs. You can
one
put
of those
Wigs on it.
teams.
Yeah.
fair.
I can get 5
Fair.
more guys for that
I know
list.
Dylan Brooks
can
ain't on
that
actually
deserve
guard.
it. That deserve it.
I know Dylan Brooks ain't on it. Because I'll talk about Dylan Brooks the way TK's talking about Pascal Siakam right now.
Shoot, you can't tell me Joel Embiid wouldn't be third team.
You can't
Dorian,
tell me
Dorian
that.
Finney-Smith.
There's some people that play defense out here. We just gotta appreciate it more.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
Pat,
fair.
Pat Bev on any potential year.
Which year? We always gotta just pick a year.
Oh man.
All right, man. I think that's it. Y'all got any other shout-outs? Did I miss anything? I think these. I thought this was
I
probably.
think I got anything, man.
Shout out to
Yeah.
Bron getting the bill. I know
Billy,
he was-
yeah, Billy.
I know
Nah,
he
that's
was gonna
not.
go there.
But I'm cool with that. That's a Billy. That's a black man achievement. That's
Yeah,
not
only active player
Ever.
I think any sport.
any sport.
Nah, I take that back. Not.
I would
not
say,
soccer.
What?
It's
yeah.
probably a soccer player somewhere. walking around with it.
You'd be surprised, bro. You'd be surprised.
I
Billy's
gotta-
hard to come by.
I gotta look that up. But only active player, definitely in American sports, to
Yeah.
obtain $1 billion over their career and time. So shout out to LeBron.
while
and that-
playing, while still playing. There's been others, Jordan, Kobe, that done it after, but while playing has been Ron.
So shout out to LeBron.
Yes, sir. Let us see a black man get paid.
What else, man? What else? I think that's
That's
it. Let's get ready for game 2, y'all. Game 2
everybody got
Prediction
Warriors winning?
Sunday at 8, you guys, in case you thought
I
it
ain't
was
gonna lie.
3:30.
I'm gonna be the one dude. I'm gonna be the one dude on the pod. I'm glad I cashed out on my FanDuel bet. I will be the one guy to be afraid, and I'm gonna say, y'all all got the Warriors, right?
Yeah.
So I'll be the one to say I see a scenario where we could go back to Boston 2-0.
I see it too. I just don't.
It's definitely possible.
I'm gonna need
I like
you to
the
say
odds.
that with a little bit more hate in
So
your
yeah,
heart,
we're
so I
going-
can bet against it. League had a run of just like every time he got too mad at something,
Yeah,
he started
somebody went-
hating, right? And he stopped talking basketball. Bro, the most infamous moment, Steph Curry's career high was against Portland regular season. He had like 60 something.
62.
Yeah.
That day, we had a pod that day.
Yep.
Y'all left. We're talking for an extra 2 hours.
Yeah.
And he is slandering Curry.
Yeah.
For Bron, as we found out.
Yeah. League had some crazy ones.
Yeah, yeah.
He definitely was. I'll never forget
It's
the
a
beginning of the
power.
season. You was like, Klay Thompson wouldn't have this record right now. I was like, I'm done. I'm done with you, League.
Now, it was a power, though. At one point, I was like, every time Lee started talking, I'm
yeah.
like, I wonder if he's going to get mad and start hating because I know exactly what I'm about to do. Bet against it.
Yeah.
But now, you said that a little too
But
calm.
yeah.
I had to put my money on the Celtics.
I'm gonna go Boston.
Bob, I'm going Golden State, though.
I go with that.
Yeah,
Ain't no way Draymond talked that much on his pod and not play hard.
would
I just
hope
feel like
not.
they
I would
played
hope
so
not. I
bad,
would
like
hope
collectively.
Yeah.
Fam said he watched film twice. So if he watched film twice, he saw how bad he was rotating, how bad he was not contesting shots, how bad he was
Yo,
like,
how bad
at the rim.
How
Like,
bad do y'all think they talked about Jordan Poole in that film session? Because he
He was lost.
honestly,
he
I
was
hope they
scared
didn't-
and lost
I
for a
hope
little
they didn't
bit.
talk that bad.
You
I
hope
hope
so.
not.
I hope
That
because
was one
first
because-
time in the
because-
finals.
Bro, he
Yeah.
let
Because-
Jaylen Brown walk to the rim one time.
that is true. That is true.
But he looked a little lost, like,
but-
throughout that entire game.
But I don't know the credence of this. I heard this in the barbershop. He sounds like somebody who's really connected to like NBA Twitter, all that and stuff. So, but someone said, has anyone like communicated Jordan Poole not to be like Steph Curry or whatever case may be? And so, like one of the staff members, and so he's kind of in his head. So he ain't been hooping right because now he's thinking about, oh, let me not be Steph.
Yeah, yeah.
I hope that hasn't happened. I hope people aren't
hope not.
walking
Yeah,
around
'cause
telling him,
you're
hey,
not
yo,
Steph. Yeah.
Hey, yo, don't do you.
He is
Like-
the type of guy where you do have to let him be special, and because he's so young and he has so
You gotta
much,
encourage
like,
it.
yeah, he has such a high ceiling at how young he is. It's like, yo, he can help y'all out. If you take the bad with the good, there will be some bad shots.
There's
That
gonna be
takes.
some bad. You're gonna see a few air balls, but hey, if
And
he's
that's
getting
honestly Steve Kerr's
24,
I don't think. Yeah, he doesn't do a
Steve-
great job of riding through young guys' mistakes.
Like Steve Kerr doesn't like young guys. Like he never has.
Yeah.
So like that's
this
why,
isn't really the first time ever he's
had to
played
do it.
this many young dudes in a season.
and it's almost out of necessity. It
Yeah.
won't because it was a
Yeah,
choice.
if Klay was healthy all year, then we wouldn't
Klay
have
was healthy,
saw this
Iggy
Jordan
was
Poole.
healthy.
like we wouldn't have saw Kuminga and Moody this year at all. Like
No.
they'd been
Gary
G League.
Payton had to be special in order to make
Facts.
and to
Gary
make.
Payton, and here's the funny part: Gary Payton's 28.
Yeah, like,
Like, he
that's the
ain't a
thing.
young
He's
dude.
not young. No, he's been a journey. Like, dude, like he was coming into the league like while we were in college.
Yeah, like
He's
he's
just
not a
been
young
bouncing
dude
around.
anymore. He's just he's not a vet in the league.
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
difference.
Like he hasn't been on a team long enough to walk around teams like he's the vet, but he's
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
a young boy.
Nah, he bounced around the G League a couple times, been on a couple teams. Like
Yeah.
he's been in the league for a good little minute.
Yeah.
We'll see though. We'll see. I see them knotting it
It's gonna be a
up.
fun series.
Knotting it up. What you think?
By the time this comes out, it's gonna be 2 games, right?
Nah, I'm getting this out.
We gonna expedite it.
I'm expediting this.
All right. Warriors.
Okay.
All right, league.
Say less.
All right, the gentleman swap has spoken.
I'm afraid that I do. There's something that fears me that I'm just like, yo, like I do know we know what the Warriors have done in the past, but I just think like Boston's gonna switch everything.
Ain't no wrong being ahead of the curve.
And while
Yeah,
they're
no.
not gonna hit threes at the same clip, okay, I think Tatum's gonna have a better game.
Yeah.
I
I'm not
I
mad
did
at you
not
for picking
suspect
Boston.
3 for 17 again.
Like I think if the Golden State does win, I think Curry has like a 35 and 7 and 7.
I think that's-
type
I
of
think that
game.
this is a
I don't
series.
think they can win games with Curry not getting at least like 27.
But he's
a
gonna
night.
average
I think they
30.
can't
for
win
the
games.
He's
He's not
averaging
aggressive.
He's gonna average
35 and
30.
5 this series.
Like I could see them winning a game with him getting.
35
At
and
least
5.
30.
I'm calling it.
With him not shooting well, do you think they can win a
35
game
I
with him
think
not
they could
shooting
win
well?
a game with him not shooting well if he's still aggressive. Like that fear of him is always the key.
Yeah.
Like, as long as Boston's going to commit to hard hedging and trapping him, the offense works. Now, if they don't, they just single cover him, then yeah, he's got to go for 35. Like, period.
Yeah.
So that's always just going to come down to the matchup.
We shall see.
All right, y'all. We appreciate y'all, man.
This was good.
For sure.
This has been fun, man. We're glad to be back. We're glad to be back. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe, like, comment below, join the conversation because we love the conversation, man. We hate just just talk to ourselves. Talk to us so we can tell y'all takes are bad.
We'll tell you why you're a casual.
Or if you got good takes, man, we'll let you know. Great take, man. And and something we missed, we definitely want to hear that too. Taman says he's never wrong, so don't worry about reaching out to him.
Can't prove it.
If you're listening on any of the audio platforms, Apple, Spotify, Google, you name it, we appreciate you. Go ahead and rate the show 5 stars, 4 stars. Because like my mama say, you ain't got nothing nice to say. Don't say nothing at all. So keep that 3 and below. We'll be back. We'll be back, man. Be back next week. Be back next week?
Nah, I ain't going nowhere.
Back next week?
He could
Just
be in
said I'm
Kentucky.
going to Kentucky.
Yeah.
You be back next week?
Must be doing it Wednesday.
I might be in the area.
We might have.
If
Well,
I'm-
the game's Sunday.
The game's well, no, we would have to do it Tuesday because I'm leaving Tuesday night.
Oh, we're not doing that. We're not doing that.
We'll see.
We'll see.
I just told you what I had, man.
But we'll be back next week. He won't, but we'll be back next week.
Somebody will be.
Somebody
back.
be talking to y'all.
Somebody gonna build this
We'll-
pod,
we'll
man.
figure out which
We've been
one.
going entirely too long, and y'all know that. And so we getting back to the full swing of things. So yeah, we appreciate y'all. We love y'all as always. Eat, sleep, breathe the game. We love you. Be safe. Be safe. Be safe out here. We out.
Nah, I
Good
guess
to have you back, bro.
Nah.